izikhali zikaRharhabe. Imikhosi kaRharhabe ibifunzwa njalo indwe madoda ebukhali, amajinqi madoda angevayo. Kuthiwa tsi izikhali zikaRharhabe. Oh, iwe madoda indwe, iwe imikhuthuka macala omabini. Kuthi waca, kuthi waca, kuthi waca. Iyadla umkhonto, iyadla ingcula, iyadla intshuntsha. Yayingamakrotango, yayingamagorhango madoda. Asazi ke namhla ngoba into esinayo abantu babetha abafazi bazintyintya ngendywala. Kunzima ukulwela ilizwe. Izikhali zikaRharhabe madoda. Ujambase lona ngulisa ngocanzi kumsuthu ngusanzaza ngohlanga omvelweni usidulungu bemhlophe. Kuhlathe ikhulu lingothiwa sile livutho lothiwa imfene kuba imfene zibanilo. Nguntsilane ngubhulashe lona nguzaba imfene mazabuye zabela abafokazi. Kusidulungu bemhlophe ugweqa amatye madoda upheka iphemphem neqhakuba ngenqawa lincola ngomhluzi amanzi ekhona utekwa ngobulembe entabeni. Ndikusandlala ncamla ndikuluncu ndikumandla nomanda afikela uhlangeni. Zala ke mazotho ndikonyelisa kumaphambi kongqale kongqake nqasini koxhuxho koqhamu kowele kobe phambili iphuza semva umtya nethunga kosemanzothweni. Kuwo yini bafazi benziki zetsholo nayiphazamile bathi idole ngomlehlayo lesifazi. Kusiba nguluka yethu ngutaba kahili kusiqaso bilesolo zintshaba ngumagatyana ngumgqwetho ngunabele emntwini madoda. Sihlobo sikaKhawuta, sihlobo sikaGcaleka, sihlobo sikaTogu kaNgconde. Ngamanzothwa ngomadoda. Onyelenzi. Wemani oqham. Ndingumzulwane ke mna ke kocabashe onkomo zibomvu uyibeka wakulokani udikana ulubisi madoda. Ngamampehlango ndingumzukulwane mna komntlane konhlanga konqabane. Kuthiwa ziqelekazi kuthiwa ngqungqushe kuthiwa hlamba ngobenda amanzi ekhona. Ngamantlanango madoda ndisisuzuku ke mna ke onyawuza kofaka kothatha kandayeni eziqelekazi ohlamba ngobenda amanzi ekhona. Faka oyifakayo wena wayikhupha siyawudidana madoda. Inkomo zikamthwaka siwule ezo madoda zikaGangatha zikahlanandwana. Siyacamagutha ke xa sitsho siyabulisa siyakhahlela sithi makukhanye kube chosi kubele kudoda bomnyama kuvela ukukhanya. Siyacamnca ke siyanqula siyathandaza xa sitsho sithi ke makube kuhle. Ngujambase ke le yazi esikolweni they used to call me umdengentonga. Ndandityibelwa kuthiwe ndingumdengentonga because I'm not a tall guy. But I'm very tall, but I'm not tall. So my teachers used to call me umdengentonga because my actions are very, very, very tall actions since I was a teenager. If I'm in the room, just know I call the order. You understand? Hey, there's a lot going on. For those of you who are interested in enrolling as a long-term student in my institution as part of Sanlethuka University, which is under Undoqo. Those of you who are interested in doing that, I've left. There's a thing there on my background which explains the prices. So this year it's 300 monthly. We have a WhatsApp group. We've got a Google Drive with a plethora of resources, books, audio files and everything. We've got notes on Google Keep and we have Microsoft meetings weekly. So that's how it works. The process is very simple. Anyone can join. But you must join with the understanding that the work we are doing is a work that aims to sort of align you with the part of our history that you do not know. So people join the program. Some, they want to know about their clan. Who are they? Others want to know about, the history of their father's clan. That's all good. But the bigger picture is to really restore and revive, as well as advance indigenous thinking, indigenous systems of knowledge, but beyond knowledge, practical material reality. So everything that you do in your life is going to be influenced. The way you view the world will be influenced by you joining the program. You will not be the same again after 3 months in the program, after 6 months, after 1 year. So it is a program that is meant to detangle the entanglements in the mind that most of our people find themselves in. So that is the goal of the program. It's a much more holistic program. But then I do have some people who say, no, I want to learn isiXhosa at an in-depth level. Right now, as we speak, I've got about 3 Xhosa students. 3. One is a Setswana-speaking person who said they want to learn isiXhosa in-depth. Then I've got 2 other Xhosa-speaking people, but they are not very strong. So we go much deeper. Last week, we were deciphering the phases of the moon in isiXhosa and what they really mean, and what it means to understand time in isiXhosa. And I believe that after that session, they are no longer bounded to the Roman concept of time. They're no longer bound to that, which is a very good achievement for me. It's a very good achievement for me to be able to get you to think differently about yourself more than anything. Because I know most of our people look down on themselves anyway. You know, for example, you've got the calendar, you've got, you think we don't have an actual calendar. We have a calendar, a much older one, actually, a much in-depth one. It's much deeper than you even realize. So we do that in isiXhosa. Those who want to learn in depth, then they join the Xhosa program. It's called KwaXhosa Sibenza Sibutya. That is the name of the Xhosa program. KwaXhosa Sibenza Sibutya. The name actually comes from bees, inyosi, because they make the honey and they eat it. So they make the honey and then they eat it. Sibenza Sibutya, ubus. And then the other program, the Kunkia-based program, for those who want to be more holistic in approach and learn about the connection between the different groups and their connection back to Kwi societies like Tam, like Kung, like Ko, like Kwi, etc. Then those join Project Ngasi. Project Ngasi, for me, is the most important step. If you say you want to completely give up the nonsensical knowledge that our people have been brought up in, you want to completely give that up and embrace a different look at South African history, going back to the BC era, you join Project Ngasi. It's a holistic project. Then the last project that I'm currently running is Kora Kobab Ada, which means Kora, our language. That one is for people who want to focus on Kora Kobab. These are people, perhaps a Ngosini person whose ancestors were Kora speaking people, a Mutlaping whose ancestors spoke Kora at some point, Ubang whose ancestors spoke Kora. Those people have a specific program that I've designed. In fact, I have an entire family right now that has expressed interest. Maybe they'll start next month. It's a family of 5, mother, father, and children, and they want to learn Kora in depth. Now there, we go into the structure of the language, the grammar of the language, the pronouns, the prefixes, plurals, first person pronouns, second person pronouns, third person pronouns, different classes of pronouns. We do that, and then we go into words, how words are formed in Kora, compound words. For example, in Kora, a king basically is a gauchaub, which is the Xhosa word uchachoba, gauchaub. It comes from 2 words, gau, to rule or rulership or law, and chaub, a man. Gau, rulership, law, governance. Chaub, a man. Gau chaub, a man of law, a man of governance, a king. And then uyinza wamaXhosa is called uso chachoba. So now puts him even above that. He's above uchachoba, the king. He's above that. So uyinza is the king of kings. That's what the name Sochachoba then means. But then you see this when you go deep into Kora, you realize, oh damn, even words like kweku, my dad. Kweku in Kora, it literally means man. It's a plural word for kwe. A single man is kweb. when you use the masculine suffix. It's kweb, a man. But multiple men, it's kweku. Kweku. Oh, my daughter, kweku. But you see this again, like so Chachoba there, he's saying, oh, my daughter. In Korah, you say kweku. Kweku. You see, again, you see this when you obviously go in depth. So that we look at stuff like that in Korah. We look at place names, like Kharib. Kharib, we know, is not a gibberish word. There's no word called Kharib. It's Kharib. Kharib, which means river. That is what Kharib is. Amaxhosa say Gili, Igili. The Tram people say Giri, Giri. It all refers to a river, any river. But in this case it refers to the Black River, Ngu Kharib, or Igili, or Giri, or Sinu, the so-called Orange River, named by Robert Gordon Jacob. But it's not Orange River, it's Black River. The water looks dark. Just like the Vaal, the water looks gray. That's why it's called Khai Karib, which means the gray waters, the gray river. Khai Karib. Obviously, we look at all of these place names, people's first names, clans, the different clans that fall into the Korah hegemonies, the history of those clans. So those are the three major programs that I'm busy with at the moment. And then one last thing, as of next week, there will be a website where you guys go and actually view my work, view the work of the movement, view some of the books that I have, the repository. If you want to buy, if you want to support, if you want to donate, you can just go to the website. So by next week, end of next week, it should be ready. So there's that. But again, this is not for me. The work that I do is not, I'm not campaigning. I don't want people to feel like they must join me. Don't join. I'm not trying to campaign here. I want people who have questions and want to dig the answers out. That's what I want, you see. I don't want people who want to be convinced about who they are. If you already know who you are happy with that, it's fine, continue with that. Don't come and join me, you see. But if you feel like something is not making sense, something is not adding up, there's answers that are there that need to be found, there's answers that need to be dug, then come and join. I'm not campaigning. I'm not evangelizing. This is not a church. This is not a political party. This is not a soccer club. I don't need support from anyone. This is a spiritual work of restoration. It's a spiritual work of restoration. If you say it doesn't make sense that somehow my identity ends with Umalangana, my identity ends with Umalandela, my identity ends with Napo, my identity ends with Matieng and Lowe, there has to be something beyond. When you look at other cultures, they can go back to 500 BC, 2000 BC, but somehow we don't have any concrete work to reference and say, look at this place, this is where our people lived in 2000 BC. That's what we're doing here. We've had enough of the Bantu stand mindset. No, you are Zulu, you come from KZN. You are Xhosa, you come from Eastern Cape. You are Ndebele, oh, you're from Mpumalanga. You are Swati, you're from Swaziland. Kak. Nonsense. We're saying we're moving beyond those labels now. We want to see what lies beyond the unknown. What lies beyond the horizon? You get what I'm saying? Umtalatala, your history ends with umtalatala. Umtalatala, blah blah blah. There has to be something beyond Lufuluenja. Singabantu bagantu thina. So umuntu yena ngokabani. So we look at questions like that because these are pertinent questions. These are pertinent issues. You can't not have answers. There has to be something. Something has to be there. This is why invaders come wherever they come from and they impose their systems on you. They come with Islam, they impose it on you. They come with white supremacist Christianity and white supremacist Judaism and they impose it on you and you are quick to accept because you have no idea what you are. Hey, you're busy reading Moses. He picked up the Pharaoh's child. The Pharaoh's daughter picked Moses up. This was like 3000 BC. Where were your people in 3000 BC? Now that's the question. Where were you in 3000 BC? You are telling us about Shiva and Kali, the great Indian deities. Who are your peoples? What's your people's mythology? What's your people's history? The moment you ask those questions, you are on the right path, because then you will be quickly taught. You will realize that all these stories, you already have them. You already have them. You know, let me tell you something. My mother was born in 1955. My mother was born 71 years ago. That's about 3 generations ago. So my mom is a great-grandmom already. Same thing with my dad. He was born in 1948. More than 3 generations ago. So when they gave birth to me, they were quite old. So my mom and dad have great-grandchildren as we speak. I have grandchildren from my nieces and nephews, and they've got children as well. So I'm a grandfather right now. But that now means my grandparents were born in the early 1900s and late 1800s. They were born in the early 1900s and late 1800s. So the version of my language that I speak today is from the late 1800s, which my grandfather and grandmother learned from their parents who were born in the mid 1800s. You get what I'm saying? They were born in the mid 1800s. So I have a very old version of language that I learned at home, but not just language, oral history that I learned at home, that you will never find anywhere else. Oral history, not just of South Africa, but of other parts of the world as well, that you're not going to find at school. You know, in our oral history, they were telling us about this ancient city in Turkey, Laodicea. This ancient city, in our oral history, we call it Latakisa. It's an ancient city of short people where there was gold everywhere and milk and honey. These short people built that civilization. If you go to those parts of Europe to this day, they talk about leprechauns, they talk about dwarves, they talk about elves. These were actual people, indigenous people of those regions, short in stature, much more connected to Africa than the populations that succeeded them. We were taught about this at home from a young age, that there was a place called Latakisa. We were taught about at home a place called Bakuba, very far away place. Now, there are some villages that bear the name Kukude Bakuba. But also there is an ancient city of Barkuba, the house of Kuba, or the son of Kuba. In fact, if you go to Mthatha, you find a place called Bazia. You find a place called Bazia. You know, it's Batsia. Batsia. I don't want to get too deep into those things. But the names tell of a history with outsiders that came to our lands. We welcome them. We learn some of their histories. Some of the names are not native. Remember now, folklore, the word folklore means the people's stories. So oral history is folklore. That's what it is. In its core, it means the stories of the people. Folk is people. Law is a story. That's it. Doesn't mean it's fake or not fake. It's folklore. It's the stories of the people. Zimbali zabantu amabali. But those short people are not myth. It's not mythology. It's real people who were there. The whole thing of elves and all that. It's short races of people. Like here in South Africa and the Kalahari, you have short people. You have short people. So, unless then you get taught from this perspective, not just the stories, but you learn about the sciences, you learn about the physics, the indigenous physics. Yesterday, my brother Limakara was talking about some of these things, which I'm going to touch on today. But again, if you need to take a screenshot, you want to consider joining my programs at some point, take a screenshot. Otherwise, you just have to, just have the money to pay and then hit me up. That's all. There's nothing else really. Now, the live is starting officially. So I'm going to remove the background and we're going to start now. The live is starting. Welcome, everyone. One of the things that happened this week, I heard someone say on Facebook in one of these lives, with this thing of Malawians in Durban and illegal foreigners and foreigners generally in South Africa, where they are told to go back home, which they should go home, because you shouldn't be living illegally in another place. There's laws and all that. You must follow the laws of that country, any country. Illegal people in Kenya must go back home. Illegal people in Congo, they must go back home. Illegal people in Zimbabwe must go back home. Everywhere it's the same. If you want to go live in Kenya, you follow the rules of Kenya. You don't go to Kenya and impose your own ways. You go to Kenya, you follow the rules of Kenya. You go to Somalia, you follow the rules of Somalia. If you do not do that, you are a criminal. And if you support that behavior, you are complicit to crime. You are a crime sympathizer. So you are yourself part of the crime, which is majority of the minorities in South Africa. So around that subject, there's this so-called perpetual victims called Muslims in South Africa now. Somehow, March and March is targeting Muslims. It's paid by Israel. Dude, when did they get paid by Israel? In 2009, when people were fighting illegal foreigners. When did March and March get paid? In 2005, when people were fighting against the influx of foreigners. Or did it just get paid now 2 weeks ago? You can understand, like, this thing has been happening. It's a very old thing, the whole thing of foreigners in South Africa. It's old. It's been happening. It's got nothing to do with March and March. It's got nothing to do with Jacinta. The whole thing of foreigners in South Africa has got absolutely nothing to do with Ungizwe Mchunu and Upagelu Mthagatha, Undabanda. Those are just people who just mushroomed. Uxolani Khumalo, Nhlanhla Lux, Ozandile Dambula, It's got nothing to do with them. The thing has always been there. It will always be there unless it's sorted. That's it. Anyway, now these Muslims somehow have figured out a way to turn this whole thing and make it about them. That no, it's Israel destabilizing South Africa. Israel does not need to destabilize South Africa. The ANC has already done that. The ANC has already destabilized the country by not enforcing their laws. If Israel takes advantage of that, kudos to them. They know how to play the game. So now Muslims are making it about them now. Now in the comments, one says, when the native people, the real or the actual owners of South Africa, because Islam is not South African. That's one thing you must know. Just like Judaism and Christianity. Islam, Judaism, and Christianity are not South African. They will never be. I don't give a care who says what. These are foreign systems. They will always be foreign. Hinduism, foreign system. That's what it is. If this hurts you, it's going to hurt you some more because we're going to keep on saying it. It is a foreign system. If you accept it and you love it and it works for you, that's fine. You are allowed to, but it's foreign. That is the truth of the matter. If I move now and go to the Netherlands, I'm a foreign person there. If I love the Netherlands because it's beautiful and clean, it's fine. I can enjoy it. But I'm a foreign person there. I will never be Dutch, whether I like it or not. If I go to the Netherlands, I'm busy telling them about the praying mantis, uCikwane. I'm busy telling them about Isithixo seZulu, the key of the heavens, the things I was taught by my forefathers. I'm telling them about Unqulo, reciting clan names. That is foreign to them. Those are the people of Donner. Those are the people of Odin, All Father. That's their belief. There are people of Thor and Odin and Tiu. You know, they're the people of those beliefs. So anything that I come with is foreign there. That is the reality. So I can't go now to the Netherlands and try and force them. And force them like, I know, guys, hey, let's wear beads, man. Let's wear beads. Everyone, let's wear beads. It's how it's supposed to be done. No, they wear whatever they want to wear because it's their country. I go there, I have to respect their laws. Isangomazim yona indoni. What is Sangomazim? I didn't know there's such a thing. What is Sangomazim? Who designed the concept of Sangomazim? Or unless you are joking, which would be absolutely inappropriate because I'm not joking. Unless your question is a joke, I think you would have to go and look for another live then. So now, one of the comments in those videos, when people are fighting with this Muslim nonsense, one of the comments is like, what did your ancestors build? One of the guys is asking a Sutu guy that's fighting with the Muslim victims now, the so-called victims, self-proclaimed victims. The Sutu guy is like, oh, you guys, we supported you with this Palestine thing. Now you're turning your backs on South Africans. And one of the guys with Arab names, because that's what Islam is. It's Arab supremacy, which is white supremacy. Just like Judaism is Jewish supremacy, which is white supremacy. Just like Hinduism and all these other systems, they are all white supremacy. Everywhere in the world, it's white supremacy. That's all they want to do. They want to get proximity to whiteness. Even the Chinese and the Japanese, just go there, you'll see it. Go live with them, you'll see it. You think the Chinese are busy squashing and murring the Natasha doll because they love dark skin? They are choking the Natasha doll there whenever their day goes by. You know, a Chinese there in China, in Guangzhou, he has a very bad day, Shem. Things don't go well at work. First thing he thinks about, let me go get my man Natasha doll, black-skinned doll, and I'm going to strangle that doll today. Strangling the doll. White supremacy. Go to Korea, South Korea. People are doing nose jobs to have pointy noses. They're putting in blonde hair, man. They want to look blonde. They want to look white. You go to Japan, the animes don't have Japanese eyes. The animes don't have Japanese eyes. They've got European eyes with blue eyes. Japanese have eyes like this, like mine. They've got eyes like mine. They don't like them. They do surgeries to remove these eyes and try and do European eyes. White supremacy. You go to India, we know the caste system, with the darker Indians being the untouchables and the higher ranking Brahman Indians being the light-skinned ones. We know it. So it's all just different instances of white supremacy. Even in Russia, Russia is a white supremacist society. All these countries have a very long history of white supremacy. Their music, their songs are based off of white supremacy. That's all there is to it. That is the truth. That is the truth. That is the reality here. Those are their systems, and you can't go there and challenge those systems because you're a foreigner there. You go there, you coming with foreign stuff, they will crush those foreign behaviors of yours. You can't. You have to go there and follow their ways or stay out of the way. But in South Africa, it's the opposite. In South Africa, people want to come here and tell us where to get off. People want to come here and there's no go zones. People want to come here, build mosques and make noise. People come here, become prophets in the country. It's like it's a home without a father. Have you seen a home without a father? In the traditional sense, of course, nowadays there are many homes without fathers because the men would rather get drunk every day, go look for 19-year-old girls than actually take care of their bloody families, which they made with their own sperms. A home without a father is susceptible to crime. You know, on the road, most victims of hijackings are women because there's no man inside the car. The criminals know it's going to be susceptible. South Africa is like a house without a man. There's no defender. Because the children of the country is our mother. the children of the country are behaving like orphans when they have a mother, a beautiful mother at that, a mother who's very nourishing at that. The country is a very nourishing mother, but the children of the mother are the ones who have forsaken their duty to take care of the land, to take care of the country, to take care of the history of the country, to take care of the languages of the country, to take care of the cosmology and the knowledge systems of the country. Who do you think is going to do that? You think Mbalula is going to do that? You think Tony Yengen is going to do that? You think Oscar Mabuyan is going to do that? You're expecting Oscar Mabuyan to take care of the heritage of this land? You're expecting Ace Makhashula to do that? Ace Makhashula represents you? What happened to you, my people, that you always need someone to do your bidding for you? You always want someone else to take care of your nonsense. You come and take care of your own nonsense. That is the work of my project. My project is to make you understand that it is your life, you must take care of it. The things you complain about, oh, our languages are not being developed, we write in Afrikaans and all that. You think the ANC is going to change that? Do you know what these people in government are? It's criminals, thugs, greedy bastards. Not very smart individuals at that as well. Most of them got 30% at school. A lot of them did not even finish school. They are thieves and liars. All of them, white, black, Indian, colored, Asian, and African foreigner alike. The few real, genuine people there, they never make it anyway. The price of being there in government is to be a criminal and a liar and a hypocrite and most of the time, white supremacist. A lot of the time, you have to be a white supremacist. And I already explained what white supremacy is. Islam is white supremacy. Judaism is white supremacy. Christianity is white supremacy. Capitalism is white supremacy. Communism is white supremacy. Socialism is white supremacy. All of them require that you let go of what is yours and follow what the white men designed for you. All the isms and schisms, nothing is indigenous about that. So the very cost of being in that system is that you have to be white supremacist, whether you are so-called black or so-called colored or so-called Indian. All of them, they're the same, liars. They have no backbone. They are not honest whatsoever. They may find a pawn to use as a face of some movement, like some of the people that you guys like. They are not running the show. They are just faces. Then they'll chuck them out when the time is right. So this guy says, what did your ancestors build? You busy believing in ancestors here. You believe in ancestors. Tina, we are Muslims. What did your people build? I'm like, that's a good question. Questions like that are good. You must hold on to them. And you must ask yourself that, what did your ancestors build, native South Africans? If you don't have an answer to that, you are in deep trouble. Because how dare you tell me you do not know what your forefathers built when your forefathers have been in this land for thousands of years? I can definitely tell you Islam did not help us with anything. Neither did Judaism or Christianity. Instead, they brought perpetual slavery for our people. That's what they did. Our people have to dress like Muslims, Arabs, and speak the language of the Arabs. And you're telling me that is freedom? You're telling me it's freedom that I can't be Kholishasha, I must be Nelson to be correct in the eyes of Christianity? I can't be Andile, I must be Baruch to be correct in the eyes of Judaism? What kind of nonsense is this? It's slavery, that's what it is. I've already told you, there is no system, not even one, that has come from outside, that came to help you. Every single system, every single idea, every single concept, every single method and principle that came from outside costs you, your authentic self. You are the price for accepting foreign systems. Every single thing, religion, or some kind of civilization that came with outsiders into this land of Ngaremab came only to take from you. That's it. These systems did not come to help you whatsoever. If they came to help you, it's been 500 years of Arab and Caucasian invasion in this land. What help have we received? Count here. List 5 things that Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, communism, capitalism, socialism has done for our people. 5 things only. We've got people living in mining towns. They don't even have food to eat at night. They live in mining towns. Anglo Gold, Anglo American are digging the gold. They're taking the diamonds. These companies like De Beers. They're taking the resources. What do we get in return? The best constitution in the world, designed by outsiders again. You know, the constitution was not designed by the native people of this land. That bloody constitution, South Africa belongs to all who live in it. It's a foreign document. There's nothing to do with our people. Screw the constitution and screw everything about these systems. I am the constitution. I was there before the constitution. My ancestors were there before the constitution. My ancestors were there before the Republic of South Africa. My ancestors were there before the Union of South Africa. My ancestors were there before the Boer republics. My ancestors were there before the colony of the Cape Colony and Natal Colony. My ancestors were there. I pre-exist. All this nonsense. Screw the Rainbow Nation. Rainbow Nation Yamasimba. That's what I have to say. It's Rainbow Nation Yamasimba. Your massive Rainbow Nation. Because the price of this Rainbow Nation is that my people must continue to hunger. My people must continue to be in want and in need, while everybody else gets to take everything from my land. It's been 500 bloody years of accommodating everybody else in this country, and we get nothing for it. So screw that nonsense. We have to take what is ours by force. And I'm telling you, forget about having a leader. You don't need a leader now. You lead yourself. Forget about having a leader. I don't want you to take Jacinta and make her this thing that she's not. I don't want you to take Undabandaba and make him what he is not. I don't want you to take Ungizwe Mchunu and make them what they are not. They are fellow South Africans. That's all. It ends there. People listen to them just for order. But the pain of our people doesn't need them. The pain of our people pre-exists them, because we've been Talas Nyamazele, man. Talas Nyamazele. So I need that bloody anger right now. I need that anger to arise. I need that anger to arise. Screw the Republic of South Africa. I say it again. Screw the Union of South Africa. Screw the Boer republics. Screw the Cape Colony. Screw the Natal Colony. Screw all these made-up nonsenses. You know, when this Muslim guy is asking this Sotho brother, what did your ancestors do for this country? What did they build? They literally made you what you are. If you're a Muslim in South Africa and you exist freely and comfortably, it's because of my ancestors. What the fuck are you asking? What did my ancestors build? They made you, motherfucker. All of them, Nigerians, Ghanaians, everybody who's here and benefiting from this country, it's because of me. My people had to die for that. Before the apartheid, before the English settlers in 1820, my people have been dying for this land. You come here, you tell me about some stupid Rainbow Nation, and my people can't even voice their concerns. We are treated as bloody criminals in this country. Our people cannot go out wearing their traditional clothes. They are called destabilizers by Ramaphosa and his friends. Oh no, they want to destabilize. Destabilize what, motherfucker? There's nothing stable here when our people are being slaughtered and killing each other every single weekend because of guns that you drop off in the townships and drugs that you put in the townships. You allow the drugs to come outside the borders through these borders that don't exist. You allow the drugs to come with the ports that you don't facilitate properly. And you're telling me that, oh no, you guys want to destabilize the country. We are not destabilizing anything. You destabilized our lives. 500 years ago, when the Portuguese arrived here, you destabilized us when the Arabs came here. That is the destabilization that happened in the country. You don't want to tell me that, oh no, you guys are destabilizing. We're not destabilizing anything. So I'm going to need that anger right now. And I'm going to need you to channel it. And I'm going to need you to put it out there. This country must shake. Malizamazama ilizwe. Oh! Tsi! Ha! Yanifunza xa ngisitsho. Ndithi tsa! Asifunzwa kanjalo madoda ezikaRharhabe kuthiwa tsi! Ha! Ezikabusolo bentonga ezikazamazama ilizwe lezamazama usibala mdaka usambatha imfutshane kanti zomlingane kube izinto zimfihla amadolo. Ahamka sitsheketshe. This country must quake. When our people, they must know, our people must go everywhere, even in the suburbs. I hear people like, oh no, I can't go in the suburbs, because I don't stay there. No, you must go to the suburbs. That's where our ancient civilizations are. Our ancient civilizations are hidden underground, these estates and these farms and these suburbs. There's no place that our people must not go. If our people want to organize and go to Constantia, they must organize and go to Constantia and stay the whole day until you hit the dog until the owner comes out. Masibona ingca eshukumayo. Masibona ingca eshukumayo. Oh, what did your ancestors build? What did your ancestors build? Dude, how many Muslim companies in South Africa operate and hire illegal immigrants? And they practice unfair labor practices. They will hire immigrants who are also Muslim. They don't want people who are not Muslim to work for them. Same thing with Jews. They even separate physically where a Jew is going to stay in an Airbnb and where a non-Jew is going to stay, a Goy. If you are a Goy, you stay this side. If you are a Yahudim, you stay this side. You are holy. The Goyim must stay this side. They are animals. Same thing with the Muslims. You are Muslim, you stay this side. And you, Kafir, this side. It's all the same. They like to act as if apartheid was this bad thing. They perform apartheid as well. They practice apartheid as well. Heck, the name Kafir comes from them. You understand? It comes from them. So it's all the same. You are being played by the bloody ANC. Oh no. Oh, Palestine, man. Hey, Palestine. Where are the Palestinians in South Africa? Where are they? The ones who came, Magiri, they are poor, they are refugees. Where are they staying? No, I just want to know where they're staying here in South Africa. They're not in the poor areas. How is that even possible? Do you believe in one God? I'm not going to answer that. I'm actually going to block you because you are trying to deviate the topic of this. You are not my follower. I don't have to answer anything of yours. You should just go back to your country. You are not an indigenous South African. Go back to your fucking country. You believers of Odin and Thor. Go to your country and worship your Odin. This is not a country of such nonsense. This is Naremab, the country of Ingasinwaba. All right. So when they're asking you, what did your people build? The fact that you can exist here in this country, as your whatever race you are, Malay, what, you don't have an idea of what it took for you guys to be able to even protest in Sea Point. Every other day in Sea Point, people are protesting from the river to the sea. It's their constitutional right. But when my people want to stand up for their land in which you are staying, those people need to learn. All of them. Amabhulu, Amasulumane, Amaslams, Amayuda, bonke nje, they must learn that, yay, nisemqashweni apha lilizwe lethu lelo khokho. Lizwe lo khokho eli manqangisa. Palestine yokunuka. IPalestine ibitheni? IPalestine ibitheni? Ezizibhanqa abantu abamnyama abathanda ulandela yonke nonsense lena. You are being used as pawns. Kuthathwa imali ye taxpayers kuyoliwa no-Israel. Israel wokunuka kwayena. Screw Israel and screw Palestine and screw all of them. If it means that for my people to be able to be heard in this bloody country, we must be enemies of everyone, then we must be enemies of everyone. It seems like that's the only thing. Steve Biko, Kamela, got it right long ago, this bloody thing. I choose myself. I choose my people. I choose myself over everything, over the ANC, over the IFP, over every single one of these false systems. I choose myself and my people. And if it means choosing our people, we must be opposed by everyone else, and everyone else must become an enemy of us. Then, makube njalo ke mazilime zetyeni maqhawuke unobathana madoda. Qhude manikiniki. Maqhawuke unobathana. Mazilime zetyeni. That is the reality we are faced with right now. Everyone seems to always unite against us. When we try, we were there. We were literally there fighting for our Muslims. Palestine. Siwalwela Muslims. Hayi. Israeli uyawagcinezela ama-slums. Uyawagcinezela ama-slums. Ama-slums alapha agcinezela abantu bakuthi wona. Unqondo ama-slums. Tsak. Don't piss us off. Don't piss us off. Steve Biko said it. I could have just helped. I could have helped fix his language. He said, "Black men, you're on your own here in South Africa." And he said, then it's going to take a program that is designed by the black people to solve the problems of the black people. It's going to take a program that is designed by us. He said it. That one, you're on your own. Two, you have to design your own program. People never listened to Biko. They didn't listen. They are busy following Constitution. Biko said, no, design your own program. The Constitution is not your program. The Republic of South Africa is not your program. Democracy is not your program. Communism is not your program. Socialism is not your program. Capitalism is not your program. Christianity is not your program. Judaism is not your program. Islam is not your program. Hinduism is not your program. None of these are your programs. They all come from somewhere else. Biko said it. So, what program have our people created since 1994? It's been 32 years now. What program have our people created? The only thing our people are good at doing is looking at some stupid person called a political leader. Do you understand that politicians are some of the most stupid people in the world? They are not intelligent human beings. That is what is required for you to be a politician. You need to be able to be stupid and to be a liar and to be greedy and to be pathetic, to be a pathetic fool. That is what politicians are. They are pathetic ass lickers. They lick the asses of billionaires. They are not real. There's nothing real about politicians and politics. I get invites and calls and emails from some stupid department of whatever. Oh, please, let's collaborate. I don't need to collaborate with you. I'm already working. I'm already doing the work that I was sent to do. I don't need any collaboration. If you want to see the work go forward, you donate. You don't try to come to my person and want to meet me physically. It's not going to happen. You donate to the work or you don't donate. For me, it changes nothing because this work goes far beyond. Kujamba semna ndingulisa ndikuchazisa hlobo lwesithi kube zimhlophe. Umfene mna. Ndilingqanqi kwelizwe. I'm not begging for space in this country. I claim this country. I don't beg for space here. And you guys were busy trying to explain to the First Nation, Brown, Aboriginal, pretendian imposters. Oh no, my ancestors were here in 15. Hey, shut that nonsense, man. You don't debate with bastards. There's no time to be debating bastards. You need to own the truth of your ancestors. Be in it. The reason why you want to convince other people who you are is because you don't believe it yourself. Well, maybe you do come from Cameroon, and I'm not going to come and make you think you don't. I go to Gamatot. Impuku ngomngunya wayo ngoku. See? Impuku nganye ngomngunya wayo kuyanuka manje. Unuka umswana, umswana emfene. Uyabona le? Ofuneka ihlala apha endodi. Literally and figuratively. Afuneka ibethe enhloko lena isakaza ubuchopho, literally and figuratively. That is the only way. We said it when Nigerians were busy coronating leaders in Eastern Cape, Kugombo. How can you go to a foreign land and you put up a leader? You did not even introduce yourselves to the indigenous authorities there. But the authorities themselves, they don't have time for that. They are busy drinking and getting drunk. So perhaps they should be overturned altogether. I'm telling you, I don't claim anything else. I don't want anyone to come and claim they are my king. My bloodline goes far beyond any of this nonsense. In every single land my people have been, they were always the first there. I don't explain myself to any bastard. Some poor, fake bloodlines that don't exist. I don't explain myself. I take what is mine. Now, what our forefathers built, Tina, we know what they built. We know it is what gave power to our invaders. Anyway, our invaders got power over us because of what we gave to them. We gave them the power because of the naivety of our people. People are naive. People are naive, our people. They are so naive, they will follow anything and everything that looks shiny and glittering. And this is what now we are saying, that be critical. Do not accept things that come from outside, because they come, particularly for one primary reason. They come as a handmaiden. They come as a handmaiden of some form of white supremacy, one way or another. And you may not understand when I say all these systems are white supremacist. All of them. You go to Asia, you find white supremacy. You go to Latin America, you find white supremacy. You go to North America, you find white supremacy. Even among the Native Americans, there's so much white supremacy. Do you understand? Even Native Americans, they praise and seek white supremacy. There's been too many instances where they are showing you with their behavior. Mexicans, white supremacist. Puerto Ricans, white supremacist. Argentinians, white supremacist. Because they seek proximity to power. They seek proximity to power. They want approval. So you must prove that you are not like these barbaric baboons. If foreigners come to South Africa, they are white supremacists. Most foreigners in South Africa are white supremacists. And I'm telling you, even foreigners who share blood with some of us, they practice white supremacy when they arrive in South Africa. They will take the first chance to stab South Africans in the back, in the face of whites. In the presence of whites, a lot of foreigners in this bloody country will stab a native South African in the back. White bloody supremacists. They are white bloody supremacists. So the system is one. It doesn't matter if a person is dark-skinned or brown or yellow or pale. They all do the same thing. But somehow we are the perpetual victims. Do you want want to change that, or do you not want to change that? If you want to change that, you have to start by removing that nonsense that you were told that you have to be nice. Remove that nonsense, because being nice has done absolutely nothing for you. I told you, you take labels that were designed by outsiders. Anything that comes from an outsider, my people, you must understand, it came only to take away from you. Even the label of being black, even the label of being African. Do you understand? When you claim that label, you're claiming something that was created by Europeans. And therefore you have to obey the rules and the parameters of that definition. Oh no, you guys are all black. You're all black. So you must behave the way I say black people behave, because I designed the very blackness in and of itself. That's what I would have fixed with Steve Biko's assertions that remove the black, put indigenous there. Perhaps remove English altogether. Say mntu, uwedwa, twi. Because when you say mntu, when you say mntu, when you say mntu, when you say mutu, you're talking to me now. What is black man? What is a black man? Are you talking to a person from the Andaman Islands in India? Because being dark-skinned, that's all there is to it. So it's a scam in and of itself, the very concept of blackness, because it's a vague, non-defined thing that Europeans came with. It is the official othering of yourself to claim what Europeans came with. They came with a concept of blackness, guys. That's the truth. They came with it. They designed it. That's why it's not real. Anyone can be black and anyone can be white. Trevor Noah can be black when he wants. He can be black. Because it's a political identity. It has nothing to do with the bloodline. Bloodline determines your behavior. Bloodline determines your habits. Bloodline is who your people are. Bloodline is where you come from. It's what feeds into your DNA. Black is an identity. It's an identity of othering a specific group in favor of another group, the white group, which does not exist in and of itself. So these are not real. They shift. Same thing with the African nonsense. You know, before they were called Africans, it was Ethiopian. Everybody was Ethiopian because it's a Greek word that means burnt face. Anyone who has a dark shade, Ethiopian. Ethiops. In the Latin languages, it's negro. It's not a real thing. There's no real identity there. We deal with the bloodline here. So what did your ancestors build? We built everything. We built everything. We built the first fire. Without us, there would not be engines. Without us, there would not be heaters. We built the concept of fire. There's evidence for that the very earliest fire was found here. What did we build? We built it. We were the makers of fire. Why do you think we've got clan names that are fire people? Ongasana. Why do you think we've got clan names that are fire people? Okoza, Omlilo. Amangesh. Why do you think we've got fire people? The Chauke. Fire people, the Shengwe. Fire people, the Khekwi. Do you think that's just a joke? Hey, my daughter. Oh, what did your ancestors build? Maybe the fact that we've got stone ruins. Maybe the fact that we've got stone ruins that are still standing after thousands of years with no cement whatsoever, no adhesive. It's a stone on top of another. Talk about understanding gravity at the most advanced level. Maybe that fact alone should absolve our people from such stupidity. But they ask that question, what did your ancestors build, in hopes that you'll be ashamed and you'll shut up. Excuse me. That's why that Muslim guy was asking the Sutu guy, what did your ancestors build? He was asking him so that he can shut him off. Like, don't talk. The Muslims are talking now. Don't talk. The masters are talking now. Their attitude always is a way of coming out. When they are done using you, you're busy shouting there, Palestine, Palestine. The attitude that they have against you, the hate they harbor for you, has a way of coming out one way or another. All the systems, any system that came from an outsider, came as a handmaiden of their dominion over you. I need you to take notes on this part. There's not a single system that came from outside, except to act as a handmaiden for that system's people's dominion over you. You think when the colonial authorities were forcing Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela to take the name Nelson in the form of his teacher, do you think when the teacher was like, no, your name is Nelson now, it's not Rolihlahla, do you think it was out of love? No, serious. Do you think when Ugedle Ihlekisa was given the name Jacob, do you think it was out of love? You think Utambo, when he got the name Oliver Reginald, it was out of love? It's dominion. I name you, I lay a claim over you. Why do you think all the Muslims in South Africa, whether you are Zulu or not, you still have to be some Abdul or Muhammad at some point? But there's no Muhammad in your language. There's no Abdul or Abdullah in your language. But somehow you have to take that name. 2,000 years later, people who lived 1,800 years ago, Fatima Sithole. Imagine. Because I name it, that's my brand now. I lay claim over it. I explained yesterday in the live of Mr. Limakara. I explained. If I name, because I'm leaving a footprint there, I'm reclaiming that thing. I'm inserting myself as a dominating power over that thing. The name that is there. Why do you, if names don't matter, why then do you have to take the name of that religion every time a new religion comes? Because they understand they have to own you. They have to own the bloody mind of yours, your bloody soul. You can't think anymore. You can't reason anymore. They own the hell out of you because you accepted and you submitted. So you think someone called Nelson could have freed our people? Someone called Jacob could have done anything? Goodwill. Aye, my daughter, man. Aye, man. Bangadlali abo. Bangadlalo abo. You're not gonna free our people. You must free yourself first. And if you are here, you are listening to this live, and you hate what I'm saying, you should hate it. If you feel nothing, there's a problem. That means the message is not working. You must hate me. But you must not hate me such that you don't think with your head. You must also think with your head. You can hate me all you want, but you must also use this and actually look at what I'm saying at a factual level. You understand? So the things that you think are small, they start with them. They start because everything is connected. Everything is metaphysical as much as it is physical. That is to say, everything is spiritual as much as it does not seem spiritual, but it is. It starts small. It starts with changing your name. And then you change your clothing. And then you change your traditions. You are a slave, practically. That's what you are. You know, I once met an individual. I asked them, what is your clan? What's your bloodline? This individual tells me, no, I don't do those things. I don't do those things of bloodline. I'm Christian. I'm like, oh, really? They're like, yes. And And I kept quiet because you don't know what you talk of. Christianity is founded upon bloodline. That's what it is founded upon. Ihlumelo liyawuphuma endlini kaDavide. Alizuphuma randomly. Liyawuphuma endlini kaDavide. So the bloodline must be that of David. Melech Daud. It can't be anybody else. It has to come from the bloodline of Daud. Those who sacrifice upon others have to come from the bloodline of Lewi. It's bloodline. Don't be stupid. It's bloodline. You are following other people's bloodlines. And you think bloodline is not important, but it's important for the religion you're following. Why do you think the Arabs have their kings? You think those kings are selected randomly? It's bloodlines. It's bloody bloodlines. Don't do clan names. Mara Benjamin come from the clan name. No. Paul come from the clan name of the Benjamites. David come from the clan of the Juhadites. There's clans. The Gunites, they want to claim Gunites as Guni. Naphtali, and all those ones. It's clans everywhere. No, arms are a necessary part of this. Learn the history of the world. How did the Romans conquer the world? Through arms. How did the Muslims conquer the world? The time they conquered the world? Through arms. You get what I'm saying? There is not a single civilization that has survived up to now without the usage of arms. How did the people of Genghis Khan, I forgot them, the Mongolians, white supremacists, by the way, they are strong white supremacists, the Mongolians themselves. The whole world, really. You think they survived just for fun, by being nice to others? No, they took arms. So the first step you do in fixing this problem of irrelevance, because our people are irrelevant in this system, the first thing you do, you take our people, you move them outside, you move them parallel to this bloody system, and then you organize. I've already started. I explained when this live started, the work that I'm doing. I explained that I'm putting together a thinking system to make it easy for you guys. You are gifted in the aspect of arms. You must get started. I will help you with the thinking behind. I will help you with the strategy. I will help you to get inside people's heads and make them see the truth. That is my gift. That is my weapon. Your gift is to carry a gun and train your fellow people because the time is nigh. Do you know what, like right now, schools are going to close. Do you know what Afrikaner boys are going to be doing? Guys, do you know what Afrikaner boys are going to be doing as the school holidays are starting? The Afrikaner boys are going to camps. They're going to camps and to learn about the fatherland. They're going to learn from the Seylanders, from the former apartheid army officers, former apartheid generals, former apartheid police officers. They are being taught. They go through initiation, these boys. By the time they come back from those camps, they think like soldiers that we are at war here. They think like soldiers that we're at war here. But what about peace and love? What is the price of peace and love? How do you achieve peace and love? Cakes wonders. Explain to me. How do you achieve peace and love after 800 years of being pillaged? After 800 years of being plundered? After 800 years counting of being stolen from? How does that translate to peace and love? Cakes and wonders. Come forward. Don't ask questions. You can actually join me in the panel. I've been waiting for you. Sayibhenqa namhlanje. Ndibhentsise the reality our people live in. Peace and love is for you and your children. That's what you do. You give them peace and love. Take peace and love, give it to your wife. Take peace and love, give it to your mother. Take peace and love, give it to your children. Makhanda ngemntu, they came 400 years ago almost. Who came 400 years? Who came 400 years ago? Explain quickly so that I can engage you. Guys, you must understand, the history of this land is not bound to Europeans. This land had history before Europeans arrived. We dealt with Arabs before we dealt with Europeans. No, Arabs were here way before that. You were trading with Asia. We were trading gold and ivory with them. They came and stayed. They left children here, like Julius Malema is one of their children. He come from the Bashabi, the Shabim. They were here before whites, a lot of them. They pillaged from Eritrea down to Mozambique. They pillaged the coast of Alzani. The Greeks came down. The Egyptians came down. Even 1,000 years ago. We are talking about everything that is not us and ours. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about whites only here. I don't worship whiteness. Anything that is opposite my people is white supremacy. Where's Cakes and Wonders? Cakes and Wonders, come. Cakes and Wonders, I need you to come, please. Cakes and Wonders is gone, guys. It's fine, I'm gonna move on. I-love and peace yokunuka. Sicela like love and peace yamanqagi zabo sicela ubhanga. You know that's nonsense. I needed you to just come so that I can embarrass you. You know that's a joke. There's no peace and love here. You think the Christians took Jerusalem out of peace and love? You think the Roman cathedrals that are full of people's skulls underground keep those skulls out of peace and love? Huh? You think it's peace and love? That Muhammad was describing a demon, the devil, as looking like a black man with dreadlocks. You think it's peace and love? When Muhammad was describing a black man looking like that, that's peace and love. When the Queen of England will wear an image of the angel Michael stepping upon the head of a dark-skinned devil, that's peace and love. Go to hell with that nonsense. Peace and love. Yamasib. Peace and love, yokunuka. Peace and love when the apartheid government was injecting our people with HIV virus. Peace and love when in America, the black Americans were taken as alligator babies. Little black American babies were taken to lakes, tied to trees, and put there so that alligators could come and eat them, so that the guys could take their arms and shoot at the alligator and make shoes with that. Peace and love. When your people were being eaten as a meal, peace and love. When black men were being backbroken by the slave masters in the farm and the plantation, they would, if they dare say anything against the slave master takes them and actually penetrates them in front of the wife. Peace and love. Peace and love. When our people were being hanged, when our ancestors died in Robben Island for nothing, for the ANC to steal and continue the same plundering and pillaging like the European white supremacists that they serve. Peace and love. Peace and love when Arabs, Muslims were taking people from the entire coast of Africa, sending them to Iraq, cutting their penises off so that they could be eunuchs, so that they don't reproduce. Peace and love. Don't speak nonsense that you don't know about. Yeah. Peace and love, yokunuka. Go with that peace. Give it to your wife and children. Don't tell me about peace. I don't want your peace. I've got my own peace. You make peace inside your house with people who love you. You make war with enemies. That's what you do. When our mothers when their nipples were being removed out of their bodies by the apartheid government, where was peace and love? When they were taking their nipples, plucking them out of their bodies. There are still family members who have not been found, who disappeared. Where was the peace and love? Where was the bloody peace and love? Answer me. So don't make noise about things you don't understand here. This is war. This is war. And war requires a strategy. It's not just a physical war, it's an intellectual war. People who look like you and me are going to be the first ones to fight you. You need to understand that. Thank you very much for the support, Langal Balele. Thank you very much, Langal Balele. I appreciate that. I just want to recognize you. And anyone else who's sending gifts, thank you guys. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Soy Georgina, thank you for the gift. No Dange, thank you for the gift. And everybody else, I can see you. I'm just trying not to get distracted because I will quickly lose my train of thought. Where was peace and love when they took Sewura? The one they call Sarki Patman. Where was peace and love when they took that woman and made her into a human commodity? Where was peace and love? There was no peace and love. Ngasikhala manqatha amameleyo. Ningasikhala manqagisa anqongo. You know what they did to our people? They would cut off the private part of the man. Cut it off because it looks too big. Hang it as a souvenir so that when they wake up, they could obviously look at it that I got this penis today. They would cut off the bums of our people. These big bums that they objectify our women with together with their foreign nationals today. And when I say foreign nationals, I mean foreign nationals from Africa, foreign nationals from Asia, foreign nationals from Europe, foreign nationals from the Americas. Where was peace and love? Where's the peace and love when Europeans come here, leaving Russia, leaving Poland, come and do crime in South Africa? They've infested Constantia, they've infested Table Bay, they've infested Stellenbosch, they've infested Greenpoint. Arabs, Europeans, and Africans alike. Where is this peace and love? I don't see it. I don't see it. So don't talk to me about peace and don't talk to me about love. Keep that peace and love to yourself. Eat it for supper and eat it for breakfast in the morning. I hope it sustains you. See? Ha! Izikhali zikaRharhabe. Izikhali zikaNtsinga kaNomagwayi waSembo. Izikhali zikaSibala Mdaka. Izikhali zikaSambatha Zimfushane kanti zomlingane kube zintuthi zimfihla amadolo. Kuzamazama ilizwe lizamazame. Kuhamham kaSitsheketshe singasiya yamhla singasiyimhla sisiya. Tsi! Kaloku mna ndiyazalwa emanzothweni izihlobo zikaKhawuta, izihlobo zikaGcaleka, izihlobo zikaToku zikaNgconde. Ndingumzukulwana kaloku mna isizukuzuku ematshaweni madoda kotshiwo kaMdange. Kuthiwa zigodwana zamazendala zingalala endleleni yazi madoda ukuthi zinyembelekile. You need to awaken the thinker in you, awaken the warrior in you. Have that indigenous confidence. That's what our people need. They need that indigenous confidence. They need that indigenous confidence to come and say, this is my home. Guys, if you lose South Africa, where are you going to go? You're going to go to Zambia as a foreigner. You know what used to happen in Lusaka, in Lilongwe? You know what used to happen to our female ANC soldiers? Because I'm not even going to claim them. I'm sorry. I'm not going to claim them because of what the ANC has done to our people. You know what used to happen? They were there in concentration camps, in refugee camps. They didn't even have the privilege of renting places, majority of them. They would be there in the bushes in Uganda, in the bushes in Lusaka. You're going to get raped there because you are an object already with the people that are in your country, the few that are here in the country. They objectify your children, Somalis in the stores, Pakistanis, those bloody Pakistanis, those terrorists, Bangladeshis in the shops, they objectify your children, they rape your children, they see them as women. Once she turns 9 and she is a woman. In Somalia right now, child marriage is normal. Part of Nigeria, child marriage is normal. This is the war I'm talking about, because people come and bring themselves when they go to a place. They don't go to a place and leave their habits behind. They go to a place, they bring themselves, they bring their habits. Where do you think they're going to do those things? Hey, they infest and, overpopulate the land. Polish criminals, Bulgarian criminals, I hear. German criminals, I hear. Israeli genocidal criminals, I hear. You think they're here for fun? It's war. Mexicans are busy cooking drugs in the farms with foreign Africans and bastard Afrikaners. They are cooking drugs in those bloody farms. Last year, there was an article I read. There was an article I read last year, just last year now. This article was about a helicopter or a small aircraft that fell. It crashed in Stellenbosch. It had R1 billion inside it. Nobody was arrested. The story was suppressed. One Zulu lady called Jacinta Zuma, she goes out, she says illegal foreigners are bad. All the news platforms are talking about her, left, right, and center. All the authors and thought leaders, intellectuals, so-called intellectuals, by the way, because they are not intellectuals. They are just middle-class people who need to dance for their masters to give them a check to eat at the end of the day. If the white man stops giving them money, they are finished. But the intellectuals, oh no, the black South Africans are active. Yay! There was a R1 billion in Stellenbosch last year. You bloody intellectuals, I didn't see you talking about it. Afrikaners with Mexicans are cooking drugs with their African friends. African friends, the foreigners, they are cooking drugs in farms. I didn't hear you talk about it. Umate was Zimbabwe is busy murdering our people in Eastern Cape, murdering women, old women. I don't hear you talk about it. It's a war, my people. And unfortunately, this is how wars are. Nobody's going to come and understand you. Don't think that someday people are going to understand you. There are a few honest people from Nigeria. I've seen them. From Zimbabwe, I've seen them. From Mozambique, I've seen them. From Zambia, I've seen them. They can see what's happening. There are a few honest individuals, they're like, man, we see what's happening in South Africa. I understand what the South Africans are doing. We've got people in Botswana, they see what's happening. You have people in Namibia, they see our sisters, the Swatini, our brothers in Lesotho. They can see. But we are the ones who are being attacked. And if we are broken, if we, South Africans, are broken, I promise you, Lesotho is broken. Eswatini is broken. Namibia is broken. Zimbabwe is broken. Mozambique is broken. I kid you not. If we are broken, everyone is broken in this part of the world. Do you understand? We are the source. I've told you before. We are the secrets. I told you before. They want what is ours by force now. They want what is ours by force. They're not playing games anymore. They're tired. So they will use anything. Just our people, our people just literally wear their leopard skin. They go out, they sing. Everyone is losing their minds. Oh, destabilization. They're destabilizing the country. Who's destabilizing the country, guys? Who's giving guns to the criminals in Menenberg and Hidafeld? Who's giving guns to the criminals in Bishop Lavis? Who's giving guns to the criminals in Joburg and in KZN? Oh no, you guys are destabilizing. You are the ones who have destabilized the country. You are the ones who have destabilized the country. This is why 60% of black people in this country live below the poverty line, do not even have 1,200 rand a month. And you're telling me that by going out and singing in my ancestral land, I'm destabilizing this bloody country, which doesn't work. The only reason this country can ever work is if the people of this country are kept poor and depressed. It's war. It's always been war. Your youth, just now, June holidays, your youth will be learning to smoke. Your high schoolers will be learning to smoke now in June holidays. They'll be having sex, underage sex, and impregnating each other at 14. They'll be learning to smoke, learning to drink, joining gangs. Afrikaner youth are going to camps to learn the colonial history. They will learn that Hintsa was an evil man. Hintsa was killing Afrikaners. They will learn that the British put Afrikaners in concentration camps. They will learn that the dinosaurs ate the indigenous people. That's what another Afrikaner said to me yesterday. That there were no people when the Afrikaners arrived. They were eaten by the dinosaurs. Impi semnyango madoda. Impi semnyango. Apparently, there were no people here when the Dutch arrived. They were eaten by the dinosaurs. These kind of theories or made-up stories will make sense to the descendants of these people. Nangoku and the descendants agree. Yeah, no, these people came from Cameroon. Yeah, they came from Cameroon. Let's kill them. Let's do Cape Independence. It starts as Cape Independence. It becomes Natal Independence. It becomes Northern Cape Independence. Little pockets everywhere. Little pockets everywhere. Before you know it, it's 2.0. Your youths will be smoking in these holidays. They'll be learning to smoke. They'll be experimenting with ganja and cigarettes. Experimenting with alcohol. Savannah. Oh, Savannah. Weekend enkulu. Yay, weekend enkulu. Their youths are learning to shoot guns. Their youths are learning that you are the enemy. They are teaching their children that you took the future of those children. The fact that only English and Afrikaans can be written in matric is oppression to them. The fact that only English and Afrikaans are on road signs in South Africa, they see it as oppression. You know, like I can't write any exam in this country in my language. An Afrikaner can write in their language. I can't read road signs in my language. An Afrikaner can read road signs, but they are oppressed one. That's what they teach to the children. They literally teach that because war is not about truth. War is about narrative. When you are telling your children, no, we are all African, don't worry, my child, we are all African. And then children, Nigeria, Nigeria. But Nigeria, you go to Table View, how many South African children are you going to see at school? Go to Maitland. How many South African children are you going to see at school? You don't see South African children. You don't see South African children at school. Where are the South African children? What are they doing? They are gallivanting and loitering around in townships. You understand what I'm saying? You go to universities, you look at the people who actually run. People who run this. In UJ, there's an institute for Pan-African thought and conversation. In my Pan-Africanism days, that institute was run by Nigerians. You know that? It was run by Yoruba Nigerians, particularly. Not Igbo, not Edo, not Hausa. Yoruba. They're the ones who ran that. The Yoruba leader, the professor, he was training another young Yoruba to take after him. They use, these Europeans and Arabs use African allies in the name of Pan-Africanism to replace South African natives. Now, the Vice Chancellor of UP was saying now the reason why the School of Law or the law faculty, whatever, has majority African foreigners is because South Africans don't have experience in human rights. They don't have experience in African human rights. How do we not have experience in African human rights when you are the ones who say we have the best constitution in the world? Should we not be the ones leading these bloody African institutes in these universities? But no, we don't have experience in African human rights. You South Africans, you don't have experience. No, you don't. But you say we have the best constitution. That's what you guys say. So if we have the best constitution, shouldn't we be the ones then who lead other African nations in these institutions so that they can learn from us? No, it's not about that. It's about replacing you because you question too much. It's about replacing you because you demand justice too much. It's about replacing you because you think you are something in their minds they know you are not. It's to keep you dependent on a broken system, to keep you dependent on the 350 grant, keep you dependent on social grants, keep you dependent. You know, you go, you're Kongozela. You don't have anything for yourself. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? So this guy says, what about peace and love? What about peace and love then? Really? What about it? Because when the when the Europeans were going to Jerusalem to seize the city, they murdered so many people. They didn't use peace and love. When the Dutch arrived here, they wiped out societies. They didn't think about peace and love when they were smashing people's heads and splashing out their brains. When they were cutting people's penises and breasts, hanging them as souvenirs, they didn't think about peace and love. Where was the peace and love then? Not long ago, man, murdering little boys who are gathering in groups. Oh no, it's a political gathering. Pa, pa, pa. It's the same thing that the government of the ANC is doing. It's not the first rodeo with Ramaphosa. In Marikana, when people were saying, we are digging gold, we're digging silver, we're digging platinum in our own land, and we just want decent pay. We just want decent pay. What did Ramaphosa do in response? With Zoom. Ramaphosa wrote an email and said, these Marikana people are behaving like criminals. Therefore, you must treat them as such. He sent that email to Ria Pierre, the commissioner of police. And they were treated as criminals. And most of those people were from Eastern Cape, for that matter. Because the people are like this. ANC. ANC. Yani bulale ANC. Looks down on you, ANC, because you're the poorest province in the country. Eastern Cape, poorest province. It was one of the best provinces in the country. One of the richest. Arguably, one of the most beautiful provinces in the country. And that's where the highest level of poverty is. Today, Limpopo has surpassed Eastern Cape by a mile. Do you understand that? 60 to 70% of people in Eastern Cape are not working. They are hungry. People are eating ubulongwe benkomo. They are eating cow dung to survive. In that bloody Eastern Cape. And the few who got out and went to Rustenburg and Joburg to go and work in the mines, when they were protesting, what did Ramaphosa do to them in Marikana? He murdered them. I heard that from Julius Malina. Julius said that. Yeah. Watch Cutting Edge. People are eating cow dung, ubulongwe, just to be able to survive the night. What happened to the Eastern Cape? It was one of the best places to be. Most beautiful. It's debilitated now. It's finished. Now, what's happening in Eastern Cape? It's worse than what's happening in Eastern Cape. Somalis are getting land in the villages now. All they have to do is to donate 10 kg of maize meal, 10 kg of rice. Of rice, braai pack, and the Somalis are getting lands in the villages. They are getting lands, and they've already started going to the mountain as well. You just have to check it on TikTok. There's a Somali boy who went to the mountain now, not long ago. Before you know it, they will be running the whole thing. Kwenze njani? Kwenze njani? ndithi maxhosa kwenzeke ntoni maxhosa wesibaba web ndithi maxhosa kwenzeke ntoni oh yeah usibaba lo web kwenzeke ntoni maxhosa amaSomali athatha imihlaba kwenzeke ntoni maxhosa amaSomali athatha imihlaba yenu nibhizi umbutho wakhokha ANC Xhosa independence in the Eastern Cape, nah, they're not ready. Abantu bakuthi are not ready. They're not ready. They're not ready. Yabo. So they need to be fixed here first. You get what I'm saying? For Xhosa independence to even work, Xhosa people need to see that there's a problem, which they have not seen yet. They have not seen that there's a problem yet. And I'm talking about Xhosa people in the Eastern Cape. I know that Xhosa people in Northern Cape, Xhosa people in Western Cape, Xhosa people in KZN, even in Northwest, I know it. I know that Xhosa people from those regions. But I'm talking about the Eastern Cape now. That's where the problem is. That's where the problem is. Because those are the people in the ANC. Whether we like it or not, it's the truth. It's the truth. And the reason they vote in the ANC, they are saying that Umbuto Wakoko, that's the thing, the reason. Yabo. But they actually don't understand. ANC is not Umbuto Wakoko, guys. Okoko Babulawa, they were killed. Okoko Babulawa, they were killed. And then they were replaced by middle class first victims of colonization. Let me explain how we get to ANC. Let me explain quickly. When Europeans arrive, they find independent indigenous people living. And those indigenous people fight. And they fight for hundreds of years in Eastern Cape and Western Cape and Northern Cape. Xhosa people fight. Imidange fight back. Komaxeleko. Amagwali fight back. Koramcha in Beaufort West. Amagqunukhwebe fight back. Amandlambe fight back, Amangika fight back, all the way up to the 1800s when Amagcaleka get involved now to fight as well. Amagcaleka started getting involved in the early 1800s. Originally, it was Imidange, Amagwali, Amandlambe, Amangika, Amagagabe. Those were the people who were fighting for a long time with Europeans, right? However, Amagcaleka they knew Europeans since the 1600s, but they had never really fought with them, with the armies. So they start fighting the armies in the 1800s. That's where Hintsa gets beheaded. But what happens now, in the time of Hintsa, Europeans have already sent missionaries into the land. The missionaries are penetrating, they're building schools. What you have, by the time of King Sandile, King Sandile is named after Alexander. You should already know what that means now. That means the royal families are already compromised. Because why is a Xhosa royal family naming their child Alexander the Great? Sandile is the son of Ncika. Ncika's mother had a white boyfriend. Ncika's mother is the wife of Umlau. She had a white boyfriend, Conrad de Buys. He's the one who was so close to Ncika, such that when the first missionary, Johann van Diekem, Ugubush, Unyengan, when he comes, Kula, Conrad is the one who interprets for Ncika. So already that guy had, mated with so many indigenous women. He sleeps with he takes another Tembu wife. He had many other wives, like 300 bastard children. So the infiltration already happened by the 1700s. 1800s infiltration is deep. Missionaries are in. They open schools. By the 1850s, 1860s, the schools are full on. That is the first generation of European style elites that are born in indigenous society. The first generation is in the 1850s and 1860s. By the 1818, 1810, 1820, already you had the first converts. Osoga, you had the first converts. They are the ones who wrote the converts. But after that now, by the way, Soga himself married a white woman from Scotland, and all his children were mixed race children. They were the first veterinarians, first doctor, first lawyer, first this, first that. So the very first generation of elites were already converts and mixed race, a lot of them. It is from this class of people that new movements come about. Movements that obviously take influence from the chiefs, like Imbumba Yamanyama. Imbumba Yamanyama comes from the chiefs. It influences these middle class or upper class natives now who find themselves living in town with Europeans. This is what leads them to write the first Xhosa newspapers as well. Is Giti Misikwa Xhosa, Imvo Zabantsundu, etc. that come after that. Those were the first newspapers. The only good thing about these early elites is that they built for themselves. They didn't wait to be given a seat at the table. They built for themselves. That's one positive thing that they did. They went and built newspaper platforms. They had publishing houses. They wrote for themselves. They didn't wait for someone. Today it's even worse. They can't even build anything. The so-called middle class can't build anything. They can't even build a single estate where indigenous people can live. They can't. All they know to do is to come on TikTok and pseudo-intellectualize everything. So those first elite people, Jabavu, are the ones who influence the formation of the SAANC, which then influences the ANC even in and of itself. So you must not think of ANC as something that, no, it comes from old movements. Yes. So ANC is like guys who came from KZN and some influence from Eastern Cape and Gauteng. These people, the main reason is that they went and lived in the cities. So they had to form what they wanted in Eastern Cape particularly was to be able to vote. They could not vote in political issues, but they were living in the cities. So they wanted to vote. Now, to be able to vote, they needed to form a political party. They didn't want the land back. You must understand, they wanted to vote. I repeat, they wanted to vote. Why did these guys gain influence? Because the kings were murdered. Hitler's head was removed. Maqoma was taken to Robben Island and died there. Ncele died in Blouberg, trying to escape Robben Island with David Stearman. Xhoxho was taken as well. Many others were arrested in Algoa Bay, Gqeberha, and in Wynberg, and in Robben Island. As these men are being arrested, Osiolo, guess what is happening to their children and wives? Their wives are being influenced by the missionaries. They are being converted. And then the children are taken to the Cape Colony to be taught in Western education. So the children of these chiefs who had been killed or arrested, the children are taken to Cape Town. There's a college that was formed by Sir Grey, a college called Sonneblom. Sonneblom is one of the colleges that were formed particularly for royal children. They were there in the 1800s already. So what you have is fathers without men, like the kings are killed, others are arrested. So there are no men in the houses. In the 1800s, before apartheid, there are no men in the houses. The wives have been converted now. The children have been taken to school. They come back, they're already westernized. And this is not just Xhosa people. Amampondo, Mseabatembu, all these Eastern Cape people suffered like that. So by the next generation of children, the children of Usandile, the children of Ofaku, those children were westernized already. Usitata, Emambondweni, married Victoria, kwaXhosa. A princess, a Xhosa princess called Victoria, a daughter of Usandile, whose name is actually Alexander. You get what I'm saying? So these children who have been educated now, the royal children, marry amongst each other. They produce more educated children. Do you know what that means? It means now the entire generation of royal family is westernized. They admit, they accept, they bow down to the European imperialism. Before apartheid, I need you to understand. Before apartheid. And at this time now, they are penetrating KZN heavily. They are fighting. Ushaka has already died. So they are dealing with Umpande, they are dealing with Uqetshwayo, they are dealing with the KZN. Now the KZN, one of their king ends up going to Victoria. The Swatis go through the same things. But the Swati were like, no, we'll work with you, Britain. Don't worry. We'll work with you. Give us that uniform of soldiers. And Basotho do the same thing. Don't worry, we'll work with you. Just make sure we don't join the apartheid. Give us those blankets, Queen Victoria. So the Basotho do the same thing. The Swati do the same thing. The Zulu do the same thing. The Xhosa are broken. The kings are killed, all of them. The wives are converted. The children have been taken overseas to study. They come back. Some of the children are even pastors now. They don't even want indigenous names. That's why then you get surnames like Bota, Botoman, Bam, Ross, Green. Excuse me. You get what I'm saying? So this is way before ANC. This is royal families. Then what happens in royal families moves on to the elite members of society. These elite members of society are the ones that lead to the ANC. Their main goal is to be able to vote. Their main goal is to be able to vote so that they can comment on things, blah, 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 blah. And then they form the ANC over. It's a long history. I'm summarizing it. It's a long history. Then they're able to vote and all that. And then 1948 happens. In 1910, actually, what you have is the Union. So the British powers and the Boer republics. By the way, actually the British took over in 1795 and took basically the country, the Cape Colony, from the Boer, the Dutch. Then, what the Dutch do to run away from having to give up slaves. Thank you, Muswama. What the Dutch do to run away from giving up slaves, they're like, no, because the English are performing now. They're being performative. They're like, no, let's abolish slavery. Now the Dutch are like, no, we're not going to abolish slavery. We're going to go and open our own republics. So you have the Great Trek. There's nothing great about it. They are running away from the British. Nothing great about the track. They're running away from the British. They go around raping indigenous people along the way, taking lands from indigenous people, and some of their slaves still exist to this day. Some of their slaves still exist to this day. I'm just trying to confirm the location. I want to confirm the location. In a place called Onverwacht, there's about 100 black families there called the Swart Afrikaners. They were established in the 1800s near the town of Cullinan. So these people are slaves. They are slaves' descendants. They come from the slaves who were part of the Voortrekkers. So the trek was never about freeing ourselves. We are Christians. You know, Afrikaners like to believe that they are Christians, ne? But the truth is that these people they were not real believers. They were animist. They were superstitious people. They were animist, superstitious. It's like these people of yes, Papa, yes. Afrikaners were like that. They're still like that to this day, actually. There are those go deeper, Papa. They believe in prophets and all these kind of things. That's why they believe South Africa is theirs. Because somebody prophesied that South Africa is yours. They were not these Christians that they claim they are. So these Afrikaners, they had within them Swart Afrikaners or slaves. So in 1795, when the Dutch are pushing for the abolishment of slavery, when the English are pushing for the abolishment of slavery, and by the way, the English are abolishing slavery because they found another system to replace it already. It's called labor. They found another system. They didn't abolish slavery because they felt sad. No. They found another system to replace it. Migrant labor. That's it. Migrant labor was a replacement of slavery. So the Dutch now are like, no, we're not going to abolish slavery. We're going to go with our slaves. We're going to go with our slaves. Those slaves still exist. Go to Onverwacht, near Cullinan. There's about 100 families. They're called the Swart Afrikaners. Those were slaves. That town was built in 1886. It was built in 1886 by the descendants of Afrikaner slaves. You understand what I'm saying? So now then, from then until 1910, when the Dutch and the English start fighting, blah, 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 doing all their tribal nonsense like they normally do in Europe, they end up forming the Union, 1910, Union of South Africa. Union of South Africa. Yes, Cullinan is in Pretoria. Next to Cullinan, there's a place called Onverwacht. That's where the black Afrikaners are, the slave descendants of the voortrekkers. And by the way, it didn't benefit them anything to be slaves. It didn't benefit them anything because they're still poor to this day. They gained nothing from being the slaves of Europeans. Nothing at all. No civilization. They didn't gain nothing. There was no civilization, as Helen Zille likes to say. I see now she's singing a different tune. But when she was in Cape Town, that Jewish descendant who ran away from Hitler in Germany, she comes here and tells us that, imperialism and colonization was not all bad because there were roads that came from it. Well, somebody can say the Holocaust was not all bad because Volkswagen came out of it. What will she say? Companies that were operating under the Führer, like Hugo Boss, companies that worked with them closely, like Adidas, companies like IBM, they're still operational to this day and they're doing very well. Somebody can use that very same argument about the Holocaust. They just speak anyhow, people like Helen Zille. They don't think, or they think they just value other people less because her struggle needs to be valued and put above other struggles when our people were colonized for more than 300 years, when the Holocaust took much less. When our people were colonized, she's like, no, colonization wasn't bad because they built roads. Roads for whom? Roads for their trucks to be able to transport the coal from one place to another. Roads for their trucks to be able to take resources from road to train, from train to port, from port to port into Europe. So the roads had nothing to do with us whatsoever. Electricity, our people did not experience electricity until the early 2000s. Water, our people didn't have taps until the early 2000s. They didn't. The average black family to this day have not had a car in their bloodline. The average black family to this day will never be able to have to board on an aeroplane until they die. The average black person right now in South Africa will never board an aeroplane. The average black person will travel by bus until they die. So what did colonization achieve then? What did it achieve? For our people, that Helen Zille is talking that, it was good, guys. It was not all bad. It was good for you, Helen Zille, because you're a white supremacist. Interesting, because you claim to have run away from Hitler there in Germany. Same thing with Robert, who's this fake billionaire guy? That ugly guy with the ugly nose, that fake billionaire, the Russian Jewish immigrant. Come on, guys. Herzog. People like Rob Herzog, you know, that bastard. See that one? I really don't like him. He's a liar. He's just like this pedophile man who's Elon Musk's father, that pedophile who grooms children. But it's wind, it's wind. Those people are like wind. They're just making noise. You need to have a strategy. You need to have a strategy. This system is against you. Do you know why this system is against you? Because you are the fuel for this system. So this system actually depends on you to continue functioning. You are the food source for the system. The system needs you to be oppressed, guys. It's not going to change. For you to be out of oppression, you need to reject the system. If the indigenous people of this land are going to be out of oppression, they have to be out of the system. So then, after the union, not long, 2 years after 1910, you have ANC being formed as a response. ANC is designed to organize the middle class, elite, black class people. Indeed, a lot of those middle class people, remember I was telling you about the chiefs, a lot of those people who were in the ANC tended to be royal children. Why? Because the royal children were the educated class. How? Because they were taken by the colonial authorities and sent to European schools. There you have it. There you have it. So, even to this day, a lot of the royal descendants are the political elites. You do know that the Zuma family does have royalty within them. You do know that the Mandela family are royals. They are not the ruling family, but they are royals. The Madikizela family, they are royals. The Holomisa family, they are royals. You do realize that? Huh? These are not just random people who were selected. No, these were the guys whose ancestors or who themselves were taken by the Europeans and sent to schools. That's how they had influence. So it was a continuation of that elitism. That's what I'm talking about. Most of them are royals. Some of them hide it, but we know they are. Even the leaders of these big churches you see today in South Africa, those leaders of those churches are royals themselves. I'm not going to mention names, but we know it. They're chiefs. Even Ramaphosa, Mutsipe, Shembe, there you go. And these people are extremely classist. When you don't come from that same class as them, they will be against you. They will be against their classist, So now you peasants who will be hungry forever, because even when you do get a good job, even when you do get a good profession, a majority of that goes to tax anyway. You know how much tax we pay? We pay as you earn. If you have a job, you pay business tax, you pay VAT on top of that. You pay VAT and you pay also for the road through your petrol. When you buy fuel, there's levies there. You're paying for the road, you're paying for everything that these elites don't have to pay for. It's a bloody conglomerate of the same people. They marry amongst each other. I told you. These people marry amongst each other. One elite family is a sister-in-law to another elite family. The other one is, Agiri Ramaphosa and Motsepe, they are in-laws. Jeb Radebe is an in-law. Jeb Radebe is the father of Deben Gogo. Umsholozi, former president, his daughter married off to Umswati. Umswati himself is an in-law of Amazulu. KwaZulu, they are in-laws of KwaXhosa. And they are also in-laws of Amampondo. The Mpondo royal family is the in-laws of the Xhosa royal family. The Xhosa royal family is the in-laws of the Temu royal family and the Mpondo Miso royal family. That's how it works, That's how it works. So you as a peasant, you must already stop worshipping these elites, because the elites are not affected by these things, guys. Sometimes they try, Shem, to comment on these things of, let's say, illegal foreigners. They comment. They don't care about those things. They're not affected. You know that if you're a rich person, you're not really affected, and they're not going to be affected anytime soon. They are all related. They are all related. Even like these people that you see, these young musicians and actors. These young musicians and actors, they are connected. I remember Natasha Tahane, when it came out that she's a grandchild of Desmond Tutu. And she got a scholarship. From there, she was given money actually by Balegambete to go and study in New York. That's how the world works. So what happens then is that you, the people who are not part of those systems, you need to understand the value of knowledge of self. Know who you are. Because this system operates with lies. This system operates with lies. When you know the true indigenous history of this land, it gives you, at a spiritual level already, authority over those who thrive off the lies. Now, I don't need approval from the ANC. I don't need approval from the DA. I don't need approval from ATM. I don't need approval from Umkhonto Wesizwe Party. I don't need approval from EFF. I am an indigenous of this land, and that gives me the authority over this land. No political party can ever determine anything I do. So you need to know who you are. Understand the ancient history of your forefathers who built this bloody society. Stop being a victim forever. Stop being victimized. Your ancestors built networks, trade networks from the Mediterranean Ocean to Mombasa, to Sofala, to Cape Town. They built networks from Zambezi to Shasha River, to Limpopo River, all the way to the Nkulgarib, the Orange River. In ancient times, I'm talking about 800 years ago, 1,500 years ago, 4,000 years ago. I'm not talking about now. We built this thing. The ruins are there. We have the history of the ruins. We know what they were used for. We're not going to volunteer that knowledge to the bloody ANC government that eat amongst each other. I'm not going to volunteer my knowledge to Gayton McKenzie, who doesn't give a damn about the indigenous history. 1 minute he's Japanese, the next minute he's a Sotho, the next minute he's Khoisan, and the next minute he's a Bushman chief. I'm not going to volunteer this knowledge. This knowledge is for indigenous people only. So we know this land, we know the secrets of this land. We know the secrets of this land, not just this land of South Africa, by the way, the whole of Southern Africa, from Zambezi down, even from Mombasa down, even from Mount Kenya down. We know, some of us know the secrets because it was our forefathers who threaded these paths. It's our forefathers who created these trade networks. They're keeping you guys drunk and deluded with false history and knowledge. They keep our people drunk with false history and knowledge. In all the countries, by the way, not just South Africa. In Zimbabwe, they do the same thing. The elite class do the same thing. You look at Zimbabweans, they're lost. They don't know who they are. They have no clue who they are. The elites know very well. Mozambique, even worse. It's even worse in Mozambique. You have the Portuguese, you have the Arab, you have the Jewish influence in Mozambique. Let me see if there's any questions here. So why are they pushing this Bantu migration fallacy? Well, remember guys, Bantu migration is not a standalone thing. No? It comes with two other fallacies. So it's three key fallacies that they come with. These fallacies form the foundation of the colonization of South Africa. So the Europeans, when they came here, they realized that they are struggling to conquer the land. The Europeans struggled to conquer the land. The Arabs struggled. The Kemets or the Egyptians, the Greeks, no one could conquer this land. That's why this land has many names in ancient times. If you read the accounts of the Greeks, the accounts of the Arabs, this land had many names. They called the people of this land different names. Like these people were beasts. These people were, it was a mystical place for them. They passed by, but they never could settle in our land. So even the Dutch, by the way, the Dutch had been here before 1652. That whole 1652 nonsense falls apart. Before 1652, the Dutch were here, the English, the Germans. They used to pass here a lot. The Portuguese, all of them. When they decided to stay in the 1600s, 1650s, they realized that there's gold. That drove them crazy. The realization that there's gold in South Africa drove them crazy. And they knew that they had to lay a claim on the land. But there's people here already. These people are organized. They've got governments. They've got systems. They've got tradition. They've got history. They've got culture. They've got industries. These people are a proper, polity. It's different nations. They've got hierarchy and all that, right? And now, that's why in the first 20 years, first 30 years, the approach of the Dutch and the Germans and the French and all that was very different. It was a trade approach. So they were trading. And in that trade, they managed to get a few people to act as translators, take a few people and travel with them overseas. You see, in the 1620s, they already took a man called Tore, went with him overseas, brought him back. And in that way, they are able to infiltrate a society. That's why by 1652, between 1652 and 1682, that first 30 years, they could wipe out 70% of the population in Cape Town. Now, they wiped out 70% of the population in Cape Town. That population in Cape Town had to run to Eastern Cape, Northern Cape, and Namibia. So a lot of the people you'll find in Namibia are actually from South Africa. Some of those people ran to Limpopo. They ran to KZN from Western Cape, running away from genocide. That genocide came from Western Cape, went to Eastern Cape. Xhosa people went through the genocide, actually. And they have not been paid reparations to this day. The Xhosa genocide, and I'm saying Xhosa generally, it took place from Western Cape to Eastern Cape to Northern Cape. That was a genocide. For the first 100 years, or the first 250 years, between 1652 and 1878. Mara, with people fought. So they realized, this is a problem. So they needed a system that discredits the validity of the indigenous people's claim to this land. Well, the indigenous people are not dying out. In Australia, it was very quick, right? It was fast. It was quick in Australia. The people, they were quick to remove them. In New Zealand, quick. In the Americas, quick. The Europeans quickly wiped out the indigenous peoples in those lands. They struggled here. In Canada, it was quick. It's amazing to this day because in a lot of these places, the indigenous people are white supremacists themselves now. In a lot of these places, the indigenous people are white supremacists themselves. Some Native Americans are white supremacists. Some Canadians, okay, I don't know, but Native Americans, I know for a fact, some of them are white supremacists. Some South American indigenous descendants are white supremacists. It's amazing. That's what happens when the white man deals with you. He makes you seek him. When he is not there, you seek him. The white man will break you, man. The white man does not play. He takes by force. He takes by the sword. He takes using the bomb. He takes, he breaks, he plunders, he rapes, he pillages, and he does not apologize. That's the white man. That's the white man. He does not apologize. You seek him. You seek his approval after that. As the Japanese. They know Nagasaki and Hiroshima, but today the Japanese will be the first to say, oh no, white man, I'm not like these niggers. I hate blacks as well. Yo, I hate blacks. They will be writing about black people there in Japan, making black people trend on social media. Yo, the blacks, they're like this, they're like that. It's the whites who put the bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The bombs taught them a lesson that either you bow down to white supremacy or you're like this. The only group that stood against these Europeans is here. and they smelled the blood. Bawuvuma komswane. Bawunukisa umswane mfene. To this day, they hate us like nobody's business. That's it. They did the same in Asia. They did the same in Korea, Vietnam. They went to India, they plundered India. The first slaves to arrive in South Africa, by the way, were Indian slaves. It was not West African slaves. It was not Indonesian slaves. It was Indians from Cochin. Those were the first slaves. They came to Eastern Cape and KZN. They came from Cochin in India. They were brought by the Portuguese in their numbers. Huge numbers. Those were the first slaves. They were enslaved and then they came and found refuge amongst our people. That's why some Zulu people, you can see, they've got Indian DNA in them. Not new Indians who came as indentured servants. I'm saying the old Indian DNA, the dark Indians. Really dark one with silky hair. You can see the phenotype in some of our coastal Zulu and Xhosa speaking communities. It's there. Emambondweni, you can still see, there's some Indian blood here. There are some people you can see there's some Indian blood. Because many of the Indians chose deliberately to live with our people than to go with the Portuguese. Because they knew they're going to be enslaved. Same thing with some of the East African slaves from Ethiopia. Some slaves that were taken from Ethiopia, they came here, dropped down here in South Africa. But when the white man is done with you, he leaves you with a different kind of Stockholm syndrome. This kind of Stockholm syndrome, you want to be the white man yourself. It changes your culture. It changes your view of the world. It changes your view of yourself. You are unhappy with your slanted eyes. If you're Japanese and Korean, you are unhappy with your black hair. You want to dye it. You want to tint it blonde. You are unhappy with everything about you. That's when the white man is done with you. You know, when I was at UCT, for the first time in my life, I saw black South Africans relaxing their hair. Black men. Black South African men relaxing their hair in UCT. For the first time in my life, I didn't know it existed. Where I'm from, we didn't do those stupid things. Where I'm from, we grew up with umqombothi namageuti. Where I'm from, when you open a cold drink, you pour out a libation at the entrance of the house. You pour out a libation because we're indigenous people. Hey, when I got there, yeah. There are guys there they relax their hair and then they do this. Hey, I'm like, what's happening here? Yeah, guys. Hey, young men, people who are 19 years old, they relax their hair, they do this, they put hair here. I'm like, oh, what's happening? They're serious. Don't joke. They're serious. And these are not poor people. These are people with rich families. Some of them, you know, their fathers are like surgeons. There was one Zimbabwean guy, I'm not going to mention a name, but he was from this is a rich Zimbabwean family. They had a house in Constantia. That one, he only dated white girls. He only dated white girls. That guy. That's the first time I saw people who have white supremacy in their heads. This other one who used to relax his hair, he liked Chinese girls only. And I'm like, what kind of men are these? Because this is not how we move, Tina. And you know, institutions like UCT are so white supremacist. People already group themselves. So where we used to go at the dining hall at Leo Marquardt, I was staying in College House, very nice residence. I had my own nice little space there. A lot of the kids there, are doing nice courses like actuarial science, philosophy, politics and economics, law, economics with law and all that. So we used to go and eat at this other place called Leo Marquardt. We used to call it Kayelija because it's full of guys from the cars. Hey, UCT, that place is so classist. Why are you putting all the Kayelija people there in Leo Marquardt? So it's a big tower. So we used to go and eat there. Then at the dining hall, people separate themselves. There's the LGBTQ table there. All the LGBT people sit on that table. It's like 10 people. All of them, they sit there together. Then there's the Pan-Africanist table where all the PAC and EFF student command guys sit. And then, and then there's me and the philosophers. I used to sit by myself because I don't care. Now I'm the guy who doesn't care. I don't need to be part of any group. I am my own group. And then you get a few guys like the smart students come and sit with me, which is a good thing, by the way. Then they'll come and sit with me. By the way, I don't want to mention names because I could mention names, but I don't want. They don't have to be mentioned. But I saw people like doing those things. I was like, what is happening in this country? So I realized how deep the effects, the after effects of white supremacy. So you go to India, they are the first victims of white supremacy. They get enslaved. They get brought to South Africa. A lot of them mix with the indigenous communities. Fortunately for them, they survive. Their bloodlines survive through Xhosa-speaking people. Their bloodlines survive through Zulu-speaking people. Those ones are good. But the ones who are left in India now, they're in a conundrum now. Because they've imported, they've downloaded this system of the parasite, white supremacy. Now this white supremacy is ravishing the society of India, which already had its own white supremacy through the caste. Then you end up having the indentured servants who then come to South Africa with that inbred, that built-in caste white supremacy system, white supremacy through slavery, and now a third layer of white supremacy through indentured servitude. So they come here with those 3 layers of white supremacy and then add another layer of apartheid classism through the white and then Indian classes. Then you have South African Indian. 4 inter and multi-generational layers of white supremacy. And you think you're going to change people by saying, oh, Rainbow Nation. Oh, South Africa belongs to all who live in it. We are all the same. Nikona. No DNA, just RSA. Yes, those things are nice because you're behind the screen. You're behind the screen. But the truth is, you hate the native people of the land. That's why when they go to the street to sing indigenous songs which belong to this land, you think they're destabilizing the country. You think they're destabilizing the country because your understanding of indigeneity is labeling them as destabilizing, labeling them as chaotic, labeling them as criminals. Multi-generational layers of white supremacy. You're not going to change it. You're not going to change the multi-generational layers of white supremacy in Japan. You're not going to change it in China. I know how people love China. I understand why people love China. The Chinese are doing well for themselves. They're doing well for themselves. I mean, they lifted about 600 million out of poverty in 20 years. So that's very good. That's a good metric. But that doesn't reflect their mindset. They're still white supremacists. That's why they've got Natasha dolls. They will strangle that black-looking doll. The Chinese will strangle that doll because they hate your black ass. They hate it. In fact, they even hate their yellow skin. They prefer a pale skin. In China, if you look yellow, they don't like it. They want to look very pale. That's what happens when the white man is done with you. That's what happens. Oh, people like to overestimate Chinese independence. They like to overestimate, the Chinese, they do for themselves. You need to study the history of China. You need to study. Go to South Korea. They're finishing themselves. They're cutting their nose so that it looks like this. In South Korea, they are cutting their noses, man. They're putting this. Your nose must look like this, and then they're opening their eyes to look like this. I'm like, Haibo, what the hell are you doing? It's South Korea. And then you have the K-pop now, and then they just magnifying the whole thing. And then come to Africa. Woohoo! Africa, the worst of them all. The worst of them all. The mother of all sufferings. Because this is where we have a massive industry. Massive industry of skin lightening. You literally have melanin in your skin to protect your DNA from mutating because of ultraviolet radiation, because you are in close proximity to the equator. You are removing that cover so that your DNA can be mutated, and then you start behaving like the same parasite that has invaded your lands because your DNA has been infected now because it's not protected by EU melanin, and then you want to come and say, no, let's unite, Africa is one. No, Africa is not one because there are bandits decapitating women in Nigeria right now. There are children being kidnapped from their homes right now. That you cannot tell me Africa is one when people are being raped in their homes. And nobody says anything about it. When the Congo is being plundered left, right, and center, and nobody says anything about it. Africa is not one. Don't lie here. You don't want to be accountable. You African leaders don't want to be accountable. And you citizens are equally guilty because you protect your bloody criminal leaders. That's one biggest problem in Africa. Accountability is not there. These leaders were busy selling their own people hundreds of years ago. And nobody wants to call that. Call it. You know, in Zimbabwe, you try to protest. You know what Mnangagwa is going to do. Do you know what Mnangagwa is going to do? And the Zimbabweans are too relaxed for my liking. They're not talking about it. Why are the Zimbabweans not talking about it? But they will be first to talk about Ramaphosa. They will be first to talk about what's wrong with South Africans. Accountability is not there. That is exactly why you're going to live in boiling excrement. You're going to live in boiling feces for the rest of your lives, you Africans, because your mind is broken. You know, here in Mozambique, there's terrorists. Inside Mozambique, there's terrorists. Our people are hungry in Lesotho. They're crossing the border every day in Lesotho to Eastern Cape. They're crossing the border every day to come to Western Cape to sell fruit and veg, to go and be zamazamas there in Gauteng. Because the elites in Lesotho are eating alone. You know, the elite children. The elite children don't stay in Lesotho. And I know because I've got inside info on this one. I know. In Lesotho, I know. I've got inside info. I used to share a place with a child of an elite from Lesotho. I used to share a place. And, I mean, those are our people I know, but dang. The elites are not doing good, man, to our people there. Again, if it's not being called out, there's a problem because you are protecting your rapist. You must speak about this, guys. It must be trendy to expose this. It must be trendy to talk about the wrongs of African leaders. Because when you don't talk about the wrongs of African leaders, then you've got a case where Nigerians cannot stay in their country. Nigerians cannot stay in their country because there's dust everywhere. It's ugly to look at. I understand. The country is ugly. You go to Lagos, you're like, there's feces on the road. There's feces on the road in Lagos. There's someone who's defecating in public. It's an epidemic there. No, it's the truth. It's the truth. Nobody wants to stay in a place where people are defecating on the roads. Nobody wants to stay there. Even Nigerians don't want. They rather go and die in Europe. Right now in Belgium, they're going to be chased out. They're crying. They're like, no, we are yours, Belgium. We are your people. We are your property. We are not leaving. They are crying. They don't want to leave Belgium. Until the leaders are held accountable. And this is Africa. When it comes to Africa, this is the biggest problem. You see, what is that place, guys, where people stormed the presidential house? Was it Sri Lanka? Was it Sri Lanka? People went to the house of the president and stormed like the youth. You see that in Nepal. In Nepal, yes, it's Nepal. I also think in Sri Lanka something similar happened as well. So you want what happened in Nepal and what happened in Sri Lanka. You want those two things that happened? That must happen in Chad. That must happen in the Central African Republic. That must happen in Congo. That must happen in Nigeria. That must happen. But the problem is that how can that happen when the youth's mind, from a young age, they are thinking about leaving? It was CIA backed. Well, if the president was doing the right thing, I'm pretty sure these people would not be susceptible to CIA. The CIA will always take advantage of cracks that already exist. That's the thing. And also, I'm very lackadaisical and hesitant in listening to these counter arguments now. When leaders do wrong things and people are angry at them, the leaders always cite some third force trying to destabilize the country. Always. Every single time when a leader does something wrong and the people are unhappy, they want to go and cite that it's Israel or the USA. Can't you do the right thing? Because if really it's Israel and the USA, then you've handed your country over to them. That's what the South African bloody government is doing. That's what they're doing. Whenever people are unhappy about something, oh, it's Israel, guys. No, it's not Israel. It's you. You are stealing from the country. You are oppressing your people. If Israel takes advantage of that, they're smart. They're smart. So that's another thing. I personally, Sandile Tugan, I will tell you right now, I will not treat leaders as little children, as infants. These people are not infants. These are grown men. They know exactly what they need to do. Are you for or against xenophobia? What is xenophobia now? You can come and join if you want, DTH. You can come and join. But what about this live made you think about xenophobia though? Because we're not talking about xenophobia here. We're talking about indigenous history. But come so that you can explain yourself why you think this live is about xenophobia, so that I can address you very fast. This is another thing. You like buzzwords. You lot like buzzwords. Any buzzword that Maverick, Daily Maverick, and News 24 are publishing. Yeah, buzzword, xenophobia, destabilization. You will jump. Yeah, xenophobia. No, use this thing. Use this. What is xenophobia? You must come and explain it before I answer you, so that I can address you properly. If you won't come up, then don't ask anything. You guys you are so good at following stuff that are given. You get also the whole thing of Afrophobia. Also that. When people are hating on Morocco, that's also Afrophobia, because Moroccans are African. They are in the continent of Africa. That is Afrophobia. Guys, Africa is broken. It's broken. The people must fix it. Each and everyone must fix their own country. It's broken. That's what I'm saying. It's xenophobia to me when Tinubu is not taking care of his people. That is xenophobia. If I was for xenophobia, I was going to say, well done, Tinubu. No, it's xenophobia. Because now your people have to go to other people's countries. What is Bola Tinubu doing there? Do you love me? Do you love me? You want to be loved when people are defecating in the public. The roads are not working. Come on, man. Hold these people accountable. That's why these countries will never work. When this thing doesn't want, when you don't want to use this, your country will not work. I'm sorry. When the elites, because by the way, the elites live in Europe, they don't give a damn. They don't give a damn about their countries. When the elites in your country are allowed to go and live in Europe, when they are sick, they are allowed to go and have a surgery in Luxembourg, and you keep quiet about that, you are the problem. I'm sorry. You're the problem. You're the problem. I'm so confused. I just arrived and asked a genuine question. Nah, I'm not going to answer your question, the whole thing of xenophobia, because here's the thing. When you ask if someone supports xenophobia or not, you must first understand why you're asking that in the first place. Is it really your question, or do you base that based on articles that were written by News 24 and Daily Maverick? Most of these news outlets are owned by the same third force, by the way. There's nothing that News 24 can write that I will take as truth. There's nothing that comes from Times Live that Times Live writes that I will take as the truth, because I know they come from the same lineage as the Stratcom of apartheid. They come from the same lineage as the Crash Consortium, your ENCA. They come from the same lineage as your Prime Media. So I will not be susceptible to News 24, Daily Maverick, Times Live. I will not be susceptible to Cape Argus. There's nothing they've ever reported on that is good for this country. So you need to first question that, why they all publish the same thing at the same time. 2, take a quick drive around South Africa and see these things they're talking about, if they're actually happening. Don't just read. Go and see for yourself if those things are happening. You will quickly realize it's nonsense. In fact, foreigners in South Africa are enjoying a very nice life, by the way. The 30 million foreigners that are here are enjoying a very nice life. That's what South Africa has afforded foreign nationals in this country. Both African foreign nationals, Asian foreign nationals, and European foreign nationals. They are living very nice. Even more than the natives at sometimes. You get what I'm saying? So you need to be very careful. Don't be susceptible. Do not be susceptible. Question your very own ideas. Yeah, there's at least 30 million, maybe even more. Here in Stellenbosch, man, there's European illegal immigrants from Europe. They are not paying rent. They're not paying rent in Stellenbosch. They're scamming the white South Africans who worship Europeans, by the way, because they think they are somehow connected, but the Europeans look down on them because they are mixed race. In truth, these bloody Afrikaners, they think they are pure. Neo is asking, if the Bantu migration theory is not true, what is the alternative theory? No, there shouldn't. You see, again, there's that problem. There's that problem. Why should there be a theory when we already know who we are? You understand what a theory is? The joining a theory, I already know who I am, guys. Theory is for people who are doing scientific research. That's what the theory is, the theory of relativity. That's what needs theory, things that you're not sure of. It's an idea that you can go and test. That's what a theory is. It's an idea, you go and test that idea, you check its tenets. I know who I am. I don't need a theory. So there is no theory, actually. It's not there. There's no theory because I already know who I am, where I come from. So anyway, back to the point. The point I'm making here is that it's a war. And the war is on your sense of identity. Because your sense of identity is what guards you against parasitic, superimposed systems, which are generally gravitating towards white supremacy. And when I say white supremacy, I mean Islam, I mean Judaism, I mean Christianity, I mean Hinduism, I mean capitalism, I mean socialism, I mean communism. All of those are white supremacy. All of them. It's white supremacy. And this white supremacy has conquered the world. It has conquered Asia, it has conquered the Americas, it has conquered Europe in and of itself. The natives of Europe, a lot of the native groups there have been completely decimated through white supremacy. And when white supremacy conquers you, it possesses you so that you replicate it to others. And this is where we are. We are at that place right now where our own leaders have been conquered by the white supremacist system and they are imposing it on the broader society, and we are saying no. So you must say no with something at hand. What is that something? I'm telling you, that something is the indigenous knowledge systems. That is what will free you, because the indigenous knowledge systems speak to your organic being. They speak to your organic self. They speak to your natural self. So the leaders are white supremacists because they have already accepted the elite status they enjoy in the white supremacist system. And because they're white supremacists, the leaders are the ones who are pushing all this nonsense. All this nonsense. Any leader who stands against this, look at the Tanzanian leader, John Pombe Magufuli. Look at what happened to him when he was busy going against COVID. He was going against COVID and then Ramaphosa, the World Health Organization, clapped for him. He was the best. He kept us under lockdown for 2 bloody years, destroying jobs, destroying people's careers, so that people could depend on 350 rands grant per month. They clapped hands for him. It's the best ever. So they clap hands when we are the ones losing. They don't write about it when we are the ones losing. So any narrative, I promise you, any narrative about our people that is in the media is always false. It's always false. That's it. Any narrative is always false. I'm gonna give DTH a chance to join. There's another person here called Muitato. Muitato, I'd like for you to come and join so that you can ask your question. I'm gonna answer the questions. I'm gonna be done with the live. So Muitato, please request, come through, and then I'll let
Can you
you.
hear me?
I'll let you ask, and then I'll answer a question. Yes, I can hear you. You had a question. Please ask your
Yeah.
question.
Sorry. Okay. So, hi, everyone. Sorry if my question came off as offensive. That isn't how I was intending it. So, my parents are from Zambia. I grew up in the Eastern Cape. So, for me, from the age of less than 1, South Africa is my home. So, I just joined the live at the part where you were saying that Israel and America is often blamed incorrectly. So, I do agree with that. Like, obviously, we can't scapegoat the main issues being, incompetence of our leaders. But the part where I joined, it sounded like maybe you were saying that that the propaganda of xenophobia is distracting us from the fact that foreigners could be the issue. And it was my mistake for making that assumption. So I just want to say my question was really genuine. I just wanted to understand if I was understanding you correctly. And yeah, it's a tough time for all of us, I think, in the country. And I appreciate the conversation that you're having with people and for being a safe space for us as Africans, we're all brothers and sisters. I'm sorry if it was offensive. It's not what I meant. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. No problem.
Thank you.
No problem. So the reason why I asked you to come, because I know you don't have context at all.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I should have just listened first. My bad.
Yeah. If you were familiar with my work,
Yeah.
you would not even ask me, because I don't generally I don't engage on nonsensical propaganda.
Yeah.
That is in South Africa we have a history with the media. So under apartheid we had something called Stratcom. Stratcom means strategic communications. So it's a tool that the government uses when they wanna go to war, either with the country or with certain people. They use the media. So almost always, in fact, always, whatever the media writes, it's always false in South Africa. That's it.
Yeah.
Whatever the media writes, because South Africa is a racist country, whatever they write is always false. That is it. So for me, when you ask if I support xenophobia or not, I don't understand why you ask that, because there's nothing that I've spoken about that would even lead someone to ask. So I assume then you ask based on the fact that I'm talking about Africa now. Now, Africa is not off
I
limits,
can
guys.
yeah.
Criticizing Africa is not
Of
off
course,
limits.
no, of
It's
course,
the very same reason why countries smell shit and people can't live in their own countries, because it can't be criticized. Oh, Africa is the special child of the family. You can't talk bad about Africa. But South
of
Africa
course not,
is a free for all. No, I will criticize leaders of Africa. I will criticize all of them. Food. I started with my own leaders for a good 1 hour criticizing them. Then when you talk briefly about a Zimbabwean leader or a Namibian leader or a Congolese leader, oh, you are xenophobic. No, we're not going to work like that. I'm not a victim here. Nobody is a victim here. We all make our beds, we lie in them. Now, when it comes to the issue of foreigners in South Africa, it's a big problem. Let's face it, guys. Come on. It's a massive problem. You go to any restaurant, it's foreign nationals who are working there. You let me know that. You let me know if you think that's a good thing when 60%
No, it's obvious.
of
That's why they pick on that as the topic to divide people, because it's like you said, it's like the easy way to divide the country, because it's clear that there's some issue that is there.
Yes, they know there's a problem.
yeah.
But however, the bigger problem, myself as a South African and many other South Africans, we know how to solve the problem. We know exactly how to solve the problem. The issue is that now, whenever we are pushing for the problem to be solved, foreign nationals come and stand in front of us. They come and stand in front of us because the problem of South Africans, trust me, foreign nationals, it's easy like this. It's something very easy to fix. You guys are a buffer zone to keep poor native South Africans fighting for something that is not a real problem. Because foreign national is an easy thing. There's laws in place, follow the laws, that's it. Anyway, I said it. If you go to Kenya, just follow the laws of Kenya. You're not supposed to be in Kenya if you're not fitting the criteria. If you are, what is this thing? If you are a refugee, you're seeking asylum, follow the laws of seeking asylum. Nobody has a problem with that. Let me tell you something about South Africa, by the way. Between 1850 and maybe 1980, hundreds, if not thousands, of Zimbabweans, Malawians, Mozambicans, Namibians, hundreds, if not thousands, they came here and became South African. Literally. Today, they are South African. There are many between 1850 and 1980. Why didn't you experience xenophobia, Bon? What happened? Because it was not a problem. It was not illegal or unregulated. It was people just coming here to get work. There are many Sibandas who are South African for generations. There are many Piris who are South Africans for generations. There are many Kaundas even who are South Africans for generations. So, I don't even want to explain myself to
No, you
foreign
don't have
nationals
to. You don't have to. I think I just
Yes,
joined
yeah,
to say
I shouldn't be explaining
no.
myself.
I joined to say
but it's just so it's just it's much deeper than foreigners, this thing, if I can put it like that. This is the first layer. It's literally we're just removing some few things that are disturbing us. There's a bigger problem here. That problem is there in Zambia as well. That problem is there in Zimbabwe as well. That problem is there in Nigeria. So Zambians must go to Zambia to fix their Zambian problems. Zimbabweans must go to Zimbabwe to fix their Zimbabwean problems. Now we shall see who doesn't want to fix their problem. Tina, we are ready to put our lives on the line for our problems. We've put our lives on the line for hundreds of years. We'll continue to do so. And there's nothing, absolutely nothing that will stop us. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.
Is there anyone else with another question, guys? Question? All right. No question. That's good. Oh, yeah, there's Muitato here. There's Muitato. I want to hear what Muitato is saying. And then there's Lita. Yeah, Muitato. What are you saying?
Hello, sir. Is it Sandile?
It's Sandile, yes.
Thank you so much, sir. My name is Mitato. I live in Botswana. I watch your content almost every now and then. I really appreciate what you're doing.
Kalibur.
One of the things that is very difficult for me to comprehend is that when you take the Namakwe and then the Kora and then others, you realize that when they number from 1 to 10, it's like DC. And then when you take Setswana, isiXhosa, isiZulu, is nngwe pedi tharo nne hlano hera bobedi hera bongwe lesome. Now, if you go to countries like in Zimbabwe and then Uganda, you always found ingwe pedi thatu nne thano, something like that, similar. So my question is that why is it that they are so similar from South Africa all the way to like Kenya and that, but our nearest tribes, our nearest ethnicity like the Kora, the Khoisan, the Namakwe, the Damara, the Naro, the Tweni, the Kasi, the Zoa, which are many in Botswana, but their numbering is different from us, but yet we look alike. That was my question.
By
That's
the
why I
way,
put on that number.
the Katsi that you mentioned, those are my people there. All right.
Oh,
That's a good one. That's a good one. Let me explain quickly. I think it's just a matter of lack of knowledge, really. That's not the case, actually. You see, you said Twi, Kam. Twi, I have Twi in my language. We say Jwi for one. When something is one, city, Inye Jwi, you see. And then Nye is one. If you go to Kunkia, it's Ne. For example, in Krum, in the language called Krum, it's Ne, it's not Twi. So that's the first problem. The first problem is people will take one popular language and use it as a standard. Within Kui languages, there's like maybe 20, 30 different dialects. Not all those dialects are going to sound like Sesotho or Sepedi or isiXhosa. But if you look at Krum, particularly Krum, it sounds like isiXhosa a lot. So in Krum, one is Ne. In Kho, sometimes one is Nwa. And then in Kwemana, it's Twi or Twe. Now let me help you. That Twe is what you say Ngwe. Ingwe. One. It's one. It's Twe. It's Ngwe. We have it, Tina, as Twe in isiXhosa. When you take something, a single thing, sithi ngumtwe. Umtwe is something that is one, something that is single. Umtwe wento. Like if you are eating an orange, you're taking one couple of an orange. We call it umtwe or umtu. Both twe and tu mean one. In fact, in Tram, when you refer to the hair, you call it tu, ngakatu. That's what you call the hair. Ngakatu. Nga is the head. Ka is the possessive. Ngaka of the head. Tu is the single strands. So ngakatu, the one strand of hair that is in the head. So that tu is still used to mean one. Umtu. Twe, even in isiZulu, twe is one. For example, these things we call them fingers, ne? But do you know the name of finger actually means the single thing? Because fingers are the original counting units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's why we end at 10. The base of our calculations is 10 because we've got 10 fingers. So each finger, it means 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So 1 is umnwe. But when we use avoidance, ukuhlonipha, we call it umtwe. Even in isiZulu, it's called umtwe. So twe again means 1. Also, we have an emphatic form to say this thing is alone, it's single. In isiXhosa, we'll say inye jwi. Inye jwi. In isiZulu, they'll say inye zwi. That jwi and zwi, it's twi. So the very concept of numbers, you must not think of it like Europeans, where it's going to be, these are the only ways to look at numbers. isiZulu, isiXhosa, Sesotho, Setswana, these are conglomerates of dialects. It's not one language. It's conglomerates of dialects. You understand what I'm saying? So in isiXhosa, you've got Gunukwebe, you've got Qoqwa, you've got Ndlambe, you've got Gwali, you've got Ntinde, you've got Inkwa, you've got Galeka, you've got Tembu, you've got Mpondomise, you've got Gcina, Kwati Mpondo, you've got different communities that speak the language of isiXhosa. There's absolutely no way all those people speak the same way. Absolutely no way. What you then have is that since 1910, Union of South Africa, what then happens is that language is standardized. At school, you are taught to count in this way. Everyone counts in that way. But that's not how we speak. As a Xhosa person, I can say, hayi ingumcu le nto man, engumcwipha. He's alone there. Oh, nalelu dwayi. Dwayi also means alone. It's from the word dwa. Like when you say iyodwa, it's alone, it's single. So that is the concept of one. It's many different words. You have kwa, it means one. You have ne, it means one, inye. You've got twe, it means one, ingwe. You've got twi, it is one, jwi. Let's go to two, In other languages, it's qam. In other languages, it's ngam. We have this word. It literally means something that is next to another or a double of another. So, for example, in isiXhosa, when you're walking next to a person, we'll say, uhamba ngam naye. Uhamba ngam naye. Ngam means next to. Or if you put your legs like this, you open them, they stand side by side. We say, uhleli ngabalala or ngamalala. That's why they call Zuma ngamalala, by the way. Or that idea ngam as well. So ngam means next to or double of. Remember, one means alone. And then when you add a second one, it means next to. That is also why the word for a friend, it's ngam or ngam. Amongst the Kaikwe who like to make videos on TikTok, there's a lady who's called Ngamto. Ngamto means the friend or the one who's next to, always attached to this one. So that is the concept of two. In fact, let me go to Lishumi or Ishumi or Lisumi. You know that it comes from a click form. If you look at the so-called Basarwane, the Kho, who speak Kan, they have a number there for 10. They say It's not GC. GC is Kwemana. Is Khokan. So the number is it means 10. It's what we say Shumi. Others say Likumi. It's 10. But let's take it even further. The number for 9 in isiXhosa is Toba. Toba means to go down. To drop one. To drop one. It comes from Kui. Kui, To means to go down. But it also has a click from To. To is to go down. Like when you're picking stuff. In Kora, for example, when you're picking stuff, you say To or To because you're going down. Ukutola. It's also ukutola, to find, to pick. So to go down, it's To, ukutola, ukutopa, ukutoba. So 9 is Toba, 10 is Shumi. We already said that 10 is Shumi, it's 9 is Toba. And then 8 in isiXhosa, it's Boko. Is it Boko or is it Bozo? That's 8. I'm not sure if in Uganda they also have Boko. But Boko is in Kho, it's which is 10. And A, which I'm thinking 2 minus 10 minus 2, I'm thinking that's what it means. A, it's Boko in isiXhosa. And then 7 in isiXhosa is Khenke. Is it Khenke? That is 7, which is an A in Sisaro. Again, there's a video right here on TikTok of a lady counting up to 10 in Khotan. She doesn't say any of these popular words. You see, so even in isiZulu, by the way, there's older ways of counting. Like in isiZulu, when you say 7, you say isi not the one that today they use is kombisa. Then older Zulu word for 7 is and older Zulu word for 3 is not tatu, it's nkwashu. And older Zulu word for 1, I did say twe, which is the click. So you have to think a bit more differently about our languages than you may think of them as in their purest form. That would have been maybe 350 years ago. 350 years ago, that would be the purest language. In fact, Sotho, Tswana, and Sepedi are said to have originally had clicks. Yes, two in isiZulu is ngoqa. Ngoqa, or yeah, ngoqa is two in isiZulu. That ngoqa, also mbanga is also two in isiZulu, which is the Xhosa mbaq. Mbaq is two. You see, when you have a stick like this, ne, and then it branches off with another stick, we say imbaq. That is two. So I think that's a very good question. And I think it's a teaching moment, because we have the knowledge that what we are speaking is not what our ancestors spoke. Even me, as a Xhosa speaking person, my forefathers didn't speak like this. I hear it in my clan names. When I say my clan names, I say Sipegi Qakuba, Nepempem, Gengawan, which means we are cooking a crab and a lizard or a scorpion with a little pot. That's what we are saying. But those words, Qakuba and Pempem, both of those words are there in Kho. Like I told you, my people are Khatsi. They are there in Kho. If you go to Kho, you look for the word Pempem. Pempem, they call it crocodile. Pempem. For us, it's scorpion. But if you look at crocodile and scorpion, you can see the idea. The idea is legs on the side. So even the cutting of the little finger, which we practice, we call it ingqit. That is a pure so-called Bushman tradition. But we do it. The cutting of the face, we call it ukugcaba or ukudeba. Ukwenza ukudeba, like debe, to cut. You go to Kunkia, you find the exact word, debe for a knife and debe to mark something. You get what I'm saying? So sometimes at face value, things seem a certain way, but if you go deep, things start to seem completely different. So the popular counting nyembi nintatu nenhlanu, it seems for me that is the most softened or codified form from clicks. Each and every one of those words, nye, which is not a click, there's a click version of it. Nye. Ngwe, for one, which is not a click, there's a click version for it. Twe. You get it? Even two, bini, or pedi, in Kwinkia, it's P. P means two in Kwinkia. So, what I can say is words like nyembi, nintatu, blah, 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 are just codified or clicks that went through processes of lenition. It's almost like if, let's say, I speak in a click language and then I'm interacting with people who struggle to pronounce clicks, but we still exchange words. They will take the click words, but they can't pronounce the clicks. So the click words will still be there without the clicks, though. You understand? So you find the words like ngonyama. Ngonyama, which means lion, but it's khotkama. Khotkama in a click form. It means lion. You find the words like tau, lion, but it's au in a click form. You find words like lingau, which is a leopard or cheetah, I don't know which one. But you find gau, or gau in a click form. And these are real words, by the way. I'm not making up any of this. You find word like kudu, which is an antelope. It's kudu in a click form. That's why we call it ikude in isiXhosa. We call it ikude. You get what I'm saying? You find words like kwena, ongwenya, ogona, ongona, onguna for the crocodile. It's tona or tonu in the click form. You find kama in a non-click form, which is ikama in a click form. We call it ikama in the harpist. You find ndlovu or tlowu in a non-click form, but it's owu in a click. That's why in isiXhosa we call the elephant owa. I could go on and on and on. I could go on even with names. You find names like Khanya or Kanya. You think, this name, it comes from Central Africa, it comes from Uganda. But you'll be shocked that it's a Tram name. It's Khanya, which means to shine. Or you find a name like Tando, which is Lerato. You think, this one is from Central Africa. No, Tando, it's tang. Tangto. It's kho. It means to love someone. Yeah, so even name like Tahat or Tahatsa is Kaha. Taha is Kaha, which means to be overjoyed. It's Kunkia. It means to be overjoyed. Or Tsako. Tsako in Shitsonga. Tsakani is Kahani. Kahani. I could go on for days, So what I can say, Nane, linguistically, it seems the click words were much more common in Africa. They were much more common. Then in some regions, the click words died, but the word itself survived. The click died. I know a guy from Burundi who struggled to say the word buhle. Buhle, even in and of itself, it's a codified form of buche. It should be buche because ke means to be nice. It means to be good. Ke means to be nice. It means to be good. That's why when someone is a good king, we call them kenga. Kenga from the word ukukenya. Ukukenya is to show, to inspire pride. To inspire pride. When you look at the king, the king inspires pride in you. You are proud of them. You feel good about them. We call that king Kenya or Kenga. In fact, if you go to Lesotho, there was a king of Maputi called Kenya. King Kenya, his other name is Morosi. Kenya means good one. The king who inspires pride. So name like Buhle would be Buche as well. It would be Buche. In fact, let me take it even a step further. When you're eating, we say uyatya, which in and of itself is huja, correct? In and of itself is codified from a lateral fricative, ukudla. But ukudla in and of itself is codified from a click, ukunga. Ukunga is to eat. It's to savor the flavor of something, to take deep pride in something. AmaXhosa always say this, it literally means ndiyazidla ngobuXhosa bam. Ukunga, even in isiZulu, ukunga is to eat, to enjoy something. Uyayinga. That's why these Tsotsitaal speaking people will say, I you, man. It's nga, which means I enjoy being with you. I like you. I you. You get it? It's ukunga. Ukunga, ukudla. So, did I answer your question, Mutatu?
Oh man, you went deep. You went deep. I would just hope I'll find the funds to join your school and then learn more. It means there's a lot there. But thank you so much. You made my day.
Thank you, sir.
Made my day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
But thank you so much again. See you in the future.
No problem. I appreciate it. I allowed him to join on purpose because I knew it was a teaching moment. So the point, my people, here is I'm going to stop now. Thank you very much for joining the live. Thank you very much for joining the live. I'm really, really happy. His question was the numbering system between South Africa and Uganda. So I was explaining to him the complexity of languages alone in South Africa. The languages are much deeper. Xhosa is not just Xhosa. There's like 15 different dialects that make up Xhosa. Xitsonga is not just Xitsonga. There's so many other dialects that make up what we call Xitsonga. So I was just explaining, that. But go to my YouTube channel, Sandile Tukani. You can watch the whole thing. I think it was a very good live. Don't watch with emotion. Watch with critical thinking. Be very critical. And also go and prove the stuff that I'm saying. Go and prove the stuff I'm saying. If I'm lying, come back to the live and say, no, you lied, my brother. You will realize that a lot of the times I know very much about what I'm talking about. I know very much about what I'm talking about. So, yeah. And I know it's not just South Africa that I know about, by the way. I know about Africa as a whole. It's just that sometimes it's hard to talk properly about these things because people just get emotional. But you can learn so much about Africa if you remove the white supremacist mindset and think in a very critical way, you will realize that each and every region of Africa has unparalleled history. Mozambique alone is a mine, a gold mine. But the people from those regions need to love their histories. They need to want to preserve their histories. In Zimbabwe, there's a word here, Gomo for a mountain. Gomo for a mountain. I'm going to tell you right now, it's Gom in a click form. A mountain, it's called Gom or Goma. It's Gom or Goma or Guma. That's a mountain. Gom, Guma or Goma. In Isinguni, it's Isiguma or Isikuma. Isikuma or Isikuma, a heap of things together. That is a mountain. That's why when people go to the mountain, they are going to Koma. In Ngomeni, in Kwinkia, it's Komke. So that Gomo, it's Gom. Can you please tell me about Ugasela? There are many different Gaselas, and this is the last question. Ugasela, the first one, Ugasela wakwaXhosa. Ugasela wakwaXhosa is a brother of Untsusa, the daughter of Chakhabe, the son of Chakhabe. Untsusa now was the daughter of Chakhabe. She actually had a chieftaincy that she ruled in the 1700s, Untsusa. That chieftaincy was called Amandluntsha. Amongst Amandluntsha, you had Amankabana, you had Amakhila, and Ntsusa, the daughter of Chakhabe, is the one who was running that chieftaincy. And then when she passed away, the Gasela people took over, the descendants of Ugasela. So you had Udom, you had Utoise. They are called Amagasela. There's other Gaselas now who are Amazocho. These Gaselas who are Amazocho are the Mvemve people. Mvemve is a bird, a lucky bird. It's the Cape Wagtail, Umvechane. So that's their totem. Omvemve, Umkelu Umvemve. Those are Gasela people. Omvemve or Gasela. I think their other clan name is Osilangwe. Yes, Izilangwe. Gamazocho. You find them amongst the Mampondo. You also find them amongst the Amadede, because they are Amazocho. Amazocho are also Amadede. So that is Ugasela. You decide which Gasela you are part of. But the name Gasela, let me help you. The name Gasela means to conquer. It means to attack. That's why in Mozambique, they have Gasa, Gasankulu, Ugasa Omkulu, the great conqueror. Because Ugasa is to conquer, is to attack others. Ugugasela kuhlasela. Eh? That's why they call Ushaka Usogasane or Gasela, the great conqueror who went and conquered and went and conquered. Wahlasela. So Gasa is a Kora word, by the way. If you go to Kora, you find the word Gasa. It means to be smarter than others. When you're smarter than others, you are Gasela, because Ugasela is to be above them, to be greater than them. So Bakona go Gasela is langue. Aphansi kwamazocho omvemve ogasela abo. My people, thank you very much. It's been a long live. Go and watch on YouTube or join early sometimes. I know I will also live to talk forever, but I'm gonna give you time to process this. All this work is done not to destroy anyone, but to push my own people forward. When my people do well, then they can actually live something positive in the world. Ndiyaqamakusha mna ndingujambasa ndingulisa ndingucazi ndingusasa ndinguhlangovelo ndingusidulu ndingungube emhlophe ndinguluncu ndikumwandla ndingumandla wafikela uhlangeni ndingusandlalanca ndinguphala kuhle nendlela yehlayo umabona bulawo ngathi ngumthakathi ndinguhlathela ingothiwa selivutha lothiwa zimfene kuba imfene zibanini lo ndingutsilane ndingubhushula ndingubhulashe ndingumzukulwana ke mna ke mampehle ndikho cabashonke omozibomvu oyibeka bakulokani olubisi odikana ngamampehla ngo mampondo mse Ndikumzukulwana ke mna ke amahlane kontlanga konqabane koziqelekazi konqungqushe kohlamba ngobenda amanzi ekhona ngamampondo ke ango camakho ndisisizukuzuku ke mna ke kumangqosini kothithiba konozinga abantu bomlambo komenyezwa kondoko kuthiwa yimbokodwe emnyama kathixo loshe qengqeleka phezu komlambo igqili ngamaqorango ndisisizukuzuku ke mna ke kwamagcina koncancashe koqhamela konokwindla omalamba yendle omalamba edlile badla iigusha zamadoda bathi ziziduli zethafa camaku ndiyacamagusha kodlamini kozizi kofakade kongqibi noboya kuthiwa zizela imnyama neenkomo zalo zinte zawela ithukela amadodolo zawela ngenkomo qeda zayidla yabawelisa qeda zayililela mna ngikufeni ngigulisa ngikuhlatsi mna ndingutsedza ngilitsedza ngiliphedla ngilivuladlela ngimuthu wekuthewuka ethabeni ngimuthu wekuthewuka ngebulebu ngimuthu wekuncola ngemhluti mati yantsakona ngigumphuthi. Thank you very much, my people. I bless you all. Bye bye.